Chapter 255. After waiting for another 2 days, Sima Yu Yang and Sima Yu Lan came out one after another. It was only on the last day that Sima Yu Lin came out. Yu Lin, the three of them don't know how to get out. Do you know? Sima Yu sat on the ground and ate her roasted chicken, not caring about her image at all. Beside her was a pile of leftover bones. Sima Yu Yang and the others each had a roasted chicken to nibble on. That golden roasted chicken looked exceptionally tempting. Sima Yu Lin walked over and snatched the roasted chicken from Sima Yu Yang's hands. He tore off a piece and placed it in his mouth. After swallowing it, he said, "There's no way out here." "No way out? Then how do we get out?" "When the time comes, it will naturally throw us out." "Throw? All right, then we can only wait." Sima Yu sighed helplessly. Her strength was increasing too quickly, so she needed to go to the back of the mountain to find some spirit beasts to train with. Otherwise, her strength would be too weak, which would not be good for her cultivation in the future. Sima Yu Yang looked at Sima Yu Lin resentfully, saying, "My roasted chicken? You've been out for so long. You've already eaten a bunch of chicken bones. Eat less to maintain your figure." Sima Yu Lin said. "Yu." Sima Yu Yang turned his gaze towards Sima Yu, wanting her to roast another one for him. Sima Yu threw a chicken to him and said, "Roast it yourself." Sima Yu Yang picked up the chicken, and just as he was about to look into its eyes, a white light enveloped them, and the few of them disappeared from the cave. In the valley, Sima Tai, Sima Lin and a group of elders were anxiously waiting. Suddenly, a white light flashed and a group of people were spat out by the white light. "It's crushing me to death. Who is sitting on my head?" In the valley, everyone was thrown into a pile. If they weren't spirit masters, they would have all been crushed to death. The great elder looked around and said in surprise, "Not a single disciple has fallen this year." "It really is." The second elder also scanned the area. Not only did they not fall, most of them even increased by 2 to 3 levels. Sima Lin said, "It's so easy this year?" Sima Tai and Sima Lin looked at each other. This year's situation was a little abnormal. *CK was indeed thrown out. "My ass." Sima Yue cursed. "Yue, you're sitting on my face." The people below wanted to scold the person sitting in front of them, but when they heard Sima Yue's voice, they changed their minds. Sima Yu stood up and saw that she was sitting on one side of that person's face, while the other side was already buried in the ground. I'm sorry." Sima Yu said apologetically as she pulled him up. "It's nothing." "All right, get up and stand properly," the great elder said loudly. Those people hurriedly stood up and obediently stood there. "Didn't you encounter any danger when you entered?" Seeing that no one was injured, the third elder couldn't help but ask. "No." Everyone replied in unison. "There are quite a few divine beasts inside. Didn't you guys encounter them?" "I've met him." "Then why did you say that you didn't encounter any danger?" The third elder blew his beard. "There really wasn't any danger. Those divine beasts were all subdued by us. Not a single one of us was injured." Someone replied. "Subdued by you?" "That's right, we brought them all out. There's not a single divine beast inside." Sima Yu Yang said. Sima Tai raised his eyebrows. "You brought all the divine beasts out?" "Yes, Grandpa." "Brothers, let's show them what you've done." Sima Yu Yang roared, and those who had divine beasts all showed their divine beasts out. So many divine beasts. Those elders were shocked by the densely packed divine beasts. "How did you form contracts with these divine beasts?" the second elder asked. "Everyone caught them together, then you tamed them for us to form contracts with," the disciple replied. Good. Sima Tai said good 3 times in a row. His happiness was evident in his words. "Initially, we thought that it would be the last time we would open the clan grounds because there were too many divine beasts. Who would have thought that you would actually be able to get rid of this hidden danger? Not bad. Clan leader, since the disciples have already returned, you can ask anything you want when we return," Sima Lin said. "That's fine too." The teleportation array had been prepared long ago, and they quickly returned to the main courtyard. When they returned, Sima Yu found Sima Yu Ming and the others, and walked over to stand with them. "Brother, your strength has increased by another rank?" She furrowed her eyebrows, saying, "Your strength has increased too quickly recently. We feel the same way, so we plan to wait a few days before going out to train for a few months." Sima Yu Ming said. "I'm guessing that they will go to the mountains to catch divine beasts soon. When the time comes, you guys will go with them and fight well to strengthen your strength." Sima Yu said. "That's not bad. If you go out alone, you might meet with danger. It's best to go with the clan members." Sima Yuran said. Fifth bro, what about you? Sima Yulu asked. I'm not going. I'll just look for spirit beasts at the back of the mountain. Sima Yuyu shook her head. She had lived in the mountains for 2 years, and did not want to experience life in the mountains again. While they were talking, Sima Tai had already finished speaking and let everyone go back first. However, Sima Yuyu, Sima Yulin and the others stayed behind. Sima Yuyu followed behind them to the hall, and found a seat at the back to sit down. Yulin, is what you said true? Sima Tai asked. Yes. Sima Yulin said, Yuyu does indeed have the bloodline of the Sima family. You went behind that door? Sima Lin asked. That's right. Sima Yuyu said, is the stone outside the mountain unreliable? That stone is definitely reliable. It's passed down from our ancestors. Sima Tai said, so you're really a member of the Sima family. Sima Yuyu rolled her eyes at him and leaned on the table, not saying a word. That old fox, if she continued his words, she would easily fall into his trap. Yulan, the blood in your body is a little restless. Has the spirit beast blood in your body been activated? Sima Tai asked. Yes, clan leader. Sima Yulan said with a smile, this time I just happened to choose a pool that activates my blood. After absorbing the essence inside, my blood has been activated by quite a bit. Sima Tai nodded, saying, originally your cultivation talent was rather good. Now that your blood has been activated and you have cultivated well, you will definitely go far in the future. Yes, clan leader. Sima Yulan replied. Sima Tai asked a few of them about the opportunities that they had obtained, and then asked Sima Yuyu what she had obtained. Sima Yuyu took out the fusion technique unhappily and muttered, what they obtained was to increase their own strength. Only what I obtained was for everyone to learn. Sigh, what a loss, what a huge loss. Chapter 256. Hearing Sima Yuyu's nagging, Sima Yuqing and the others lowered their heads and could not help but laugh. Sima Tai, on the other hand, was so shocked that he was speechless. How is it? Do you feel like you've picked up a huge bargain? Sima Yuyu looked at Sima Tai's expression and snorted, you have to compensate me. Okay. Sima Tai answered quickly this time. Patriarch, this is? Sima Lin saw how straightforward Sima Tai was, and was curious about the spirit technique in his hands. Do you remember one of our family records? It mentioned that our ancestor had a skill that allowed him to add the abilities of his contracted beast to himself? Sima Tai asked. Could it be this? Sima Lin's face was filled with unconcealable shock. If that was the case, the Sima family would really have to thank Sima Yue. I think your ancestors didn't want you to learn this skill, Sima Yue said. Why? That's because it's almost impossible to obtain this spiritual technique. I just happened to fulfill the requirements and obtained it, Sima Yue said. If the ancestors really wanted their descendants to learn it, they wouldn't have left it there. Yuyu, didn't you say that you didn't pass the test? Sima Yuqing said. That's right. There was no test in front, but the place where it was stored was blocked by a hard turntable. If you can't open the turntable, you can't get it. Sima Yue said. Then how harsh are the conditions to open the wheel? Sima Yuyang asked. In any case, none of you will be able to open it. It's not that it's difficult, it's just that you don't have what it takes, Sima Yue said. What conditions? Even Brother Yulin can't do it? Sima Yulan asked. Sima Yulin also looked at Sima Yuyu, his eyes filled with curiosity and doubt. Sima Yue sighed and said, that turntable has 5 colors and each color requires a corresponding amount of spiritual energy. That place only allows one person to enter at a time. If this isn't to prevent ordinary people from entering, then what is it? You're a spirit master of all faculties. Sima Yuyang exclaimed when he heard what Sima Yuyu said. I didn't say that. Sima Yue said, let's not talk about this. Master, you said that you were willing to compensate me. Sima Tai was also surprised when he found out that she was a complete spirit master and said, yes, what kind of compensation do you want? Since I gave you something good, I naturally have to compensate you with something good. Sima Yue chuckled and said, I heard that there are many spiritual techniques in our residence's library, but you can't just go in and out. You are allowed to enter freely. Sima Tai said. I'm not asking for this. Sima Yue waved her hand and said, my 4 brothers have been locked up by you guys for 3 years and have not learned any good spiritual techniques. Let them go in and choose a spiritual technique. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that her request was to fight for an opportunity for her brother to study. She had really done her best for her brothers. They are members of the clan, so they can naturally enter the library to choose spiritual techniques. Sima Tai said, Speaking of spiritual techniques, do you still have the Raging Inferno cleave? No, I returned it to grandfather when I came back. Sima Yue said. Since we've already agreed, I'll head back first. Alright, I don't like to hear others talk about me. I get angry when I hear it. After saying that, she bowed to the people above and left. This guy, he actually dares to threaten me. Sima Tai said angrily, but everyone could see that there was no anger in his eyes. Yu usually likes to keep a low profile. If we tell others about him, he might really get angry. Sima Yuqing said. He's strong but not arrogant. He's mature and steady. He'll definitely become someone great in the future. Eldest elder sighed. If other powers know that our clan has produced a genius like him, they'll definitely kill him. Second elder said. No one is allowed to spread what we've said here today. Also, the clan members must keep you use other abilities a secret. Otherwise, you'll be punished according to the clan rules. Sima Tai said. Yes, clan leader. Just like that, Sima Yue created a huge wave in the Sima residence. However, not a single ripple flew out. The outside world didn't receive any news at all. Seeing this result, Sima Yue was very satisfied. Although the clan members knew that she could tame divine beasts, nobody said it out loud. What they said that day in the Great Hall didn't leak out either. That was why, apart from Sima Yulin and a few others, the Sima family members didn't know that she was an all-round genius. Boom dash, she fought with a male lion. The other party had just become a divine beast, but they were still evenly matched. Of course, this was under the condition that she didn't even use her trump card. I don't want to fight anymore, I don't want to fight anymore. The male lion cried out as his fur was burnt by Sima Yue's flames. Big lion, we haven't fought for long today. How can you back out? Sima Yue jumped onto the lion's back and pulled on his ear. You're getting stronger and stronger. My fur has been burnt by you many times. Big lion said. Didn't I give you a pill to recover? Sima Yue said, who else can have such treatment? Even so, I don't want to. Big lion decided not to fight with her today. No, I haven't found a better sparring partner. You have to fight with me. Sima Yue acted shamelessly. My little ancestor, please spare me. Big lion begged. There are so many spirit beasts in this mountain. Why did you choose me? What can I do? Sima Yue patted Big Lion's head and said, in this mountain, if it's not that the city is too low, then it's that their abilities are too high. If I want to train my battle abilities, I will definitely use someone like you as a sparring partner. Big Lion laid on the ground and said, I don't care, I don't care. I don't want to fight with you anymore. Sima Yue was speechless. This lion was really cowardly. It had already been half a month since they returned from the clan grounds. In this half a month, she had been running into the mountain every day to find spirit beasts to fight and strengthen her abilities. Previously, she was still suppressing the feedback she received. She was prepared to advance in another 2 days. However, she didn't expect that at this time her sparring partner, Big Lion, wouldn't do it. Since it's not willing, why don't we have a spar today? Sima Lin appeared and said to Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked towards the mountain top and saw Sima Lin looking at her. Grandpa Lin. 3 years ago we had a spar of mental strength. Why don't we do it again today? Sima Lin flew down and looked at Sima Yue as he said. Sure. Sima Yue agreed readily. After returning to the clan, she had always wanted to find Sima Lin to spar again. 3 years ago she was completely suppressed by him. She really wanted to know if 3 years later she would still be unable to take 3 moves from him like before. Chapter 257. Then take it. Sima Lin said as he sent his mental power to attack Sima Yue. Sima Yue immediately focused on defending herself. She did not dare to underestimate the mental strength of an accomplished array master. Both of their spiritual powers were almost solid. When they met in the air there was a solid sound. In the beginning, Sima Lin did not use much strength because today he did not need to beat her until she could not walk like 3 years ago. However, he soon realized that Sima Yue's spiritual power had grown several times over the past 3 years. She could easily block his attack. One had to know that the spiritual power he was releasing now was the same as the spiritual power he used to defeat her 3 years ago. Again? Sima Lin's second attack had doubled in strength. However, Sima Yue was still able to receive it with ease. Sima Lin's third attack was not only received by Sima Yue, she even fiercely used her strength to reorganize his mental power. Grandpa Lin, how is it? Sima Yue asked with a smile. When she first met him 3 years ago, she had only been practicing the soul refining art for a short period of time, but she was already able to receive his attacks. Now that 3 years had passed, she had been practicing the soul-refining art every day, and her mental strength was no longer the same as before. Sima Lin nodded and flew down from the top of the mountain, saying, "I didn't expect your spiritual energy to be so powerful. I heard that you are also an array master?" Sima Yu knew that Sima Lin must have told him. However, she didn't try to hide it and nodded in agreement. She had always wanted to ask him for pointers on her array formation. Now that he had asked, she could take the opportunity to ask him for advice. "What level has your comprehension of space reached?" Sima Lin asked. "I can already control the space of half of my body," Sima Yue replied. Sima Lin revealed a look of surprise. She was still so young, yet she could already control space. Good. Although the clan has produced 2 array masters, their talent is far inferior to yours. Sima Lin excitedly said, "I will tell you everything I know. In the future your achievements will definitely be much higher than mine." "Thank you, Grandpa Lin." Sima Yue cupped her fists and bowed. "Aha, let's go to the pavilion at the top of the mountain." Sima Yue happily followed Sima Lin. In the following days, Sima Yue lived a simple and peaceful life. When she had time, she would discuss with Sima Lin about array formations. Sima Lin liked her very much and taught her everything he knew, allowing her to improve greatly in array formations. Other than learning array formations, she would also fight with him from time to time, constantly improving through the battles. The Scarlet Queen Bee had already given birth to quite a number of scarlet bees, and she was collecting honey in the spirit pagoda. Every month she would send a bottle of honey to the old fox. The old fox would distribute the honey to the disciples of the family to help them increase their strength. Aside from Sima Lin, the others who obtained the honey had no idea where it came from. Of course, towards the end, the Scarlet Queen Bee would give birth to even more scarlet bees, and would produce even more honey. Sima Yue kept all the honey, and appropriately increased the amount she gave to the Sima family, leaving the rest for future use. Wei Ziqi and the others had been cultivating in the spirit pagoda for more than a year, and they did not know when they would advance in rank. That was why Sima Yue would run to the mountains every few days, going to a secluded place to pick them up and advance in rank. In this 1 year, the few of them had all advanced to the rank of Spirit Overlord, and Bei Gongtang had already advanced to the rank of Spirit Saint. When there were still 3 months before the gathering, Sima Yue received a piece of news, and hurriedly called the few of them out of seclusion. "What's wrong, Yue?" Fatty Chu came out and asked. This was the first time she had interrupted their cultivation, so something big must have happened. Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei and said, "There's news from the South Yu Kingdom, saying that the South Yu Emperor and the others know that you're still alive, and have even left the Dongqing Kingdom. They've spread the news, saying that they will execute your mother and her clansmen in half a month's time." Ouyang Fei immediately flew into a rage and smashed the stone table with a palm, shouting, "Ouyang Dong dares! He has just ascended the throne, and knows that Ouyang Fei is still alive. He will definitely think of a way to get rid of you." Bei Gongtang said. "Right, when your father was still alive, he did not dare to make a move against your mother and her clansmen, and could only secretly plot against you. Now that he has ascended the throne, he will naturally eliminate these hidden dangers." Wei Ziqi analyzed. "If those old people in the court know that you're still alive, they will definitely overthrow him and make you the emperor. Ouyang Dong is afraid that this will happen." Fatty Chu had matured a lot in these 2 years. Sima Yue looked at him and asked, "What do you plan to do?" Ouyang Fei clenched his fists and said, "What else can I do? He knows that my clansmen are my weakness. He knows that I will definitely return once I receive the news, and I'm afraid that he has already set up a killing array for me to return. However, even if that's the case, I still have to return." Sima Yue patted his shoulder and said, "What are you afraid of? Our current strength is not low either. When we go to South Yu, we'll turn everything upside down. Right, let's go and challenge his throne, and directly settle the grudges from a few years ago," Wei Ziqi said. "You guys." Ouyang Fei wanted to tell them not to go, but he could not say it out loud. With his understanding of them, he knew that even if he said it, it would be useless. "Since time is tight, I'll go and inform grandfather and the others and then we'll move," Sima Yue said. "Before we reach South Yu's capital, Ouyang Fei, stay here first. Don't show your face," Wei Ziqi said. "Right, that South Yu Emperor will definitely guess that you will return. Who knows, he might set up an ambush or something along the way. We can't waste time on the road," Sima Yue said. "All right. Then we'll have to trouble you, Yu. Ouyang Fei nodded. "Look at what you're saying." Sima Yue glared at him saying, "I'll go and bring grandfather and the others out." She came to another house and told Sima Lai and the others about the situation and brought them out. "Fifth bro, why don't you let us go with you?" Sima Yulu said. In this 1 year they had risen quite a few ranks in the spirit pagoda. When they heard that she was going to South Yu, they naturally wanted to go with her. "You guys stay at home. When the time comes we'll go and participate in the gathering. You guys are the trump card of the Sima family. You can't expose yourselves in advance." Sima Yue said, "When the time comes I'll meet you guys at the gathering." "You, alright. Then you have to be careful." Sima Yuran said. "I will." Sima Yue nodded. "I'll go and inform the clan leader." As she spoke, she took out a bottle of honey and handed it to Sima Yuming, saying, "This is for you guys for the next 3 months. Sima Yuming naturally knew that this was scarlet honey. He had been drinking this for the past year. He took it and said, "You have to be careful. Bring Chongming along." "I'll be careful." Sima Yue replied, then sighed, saying, "That guy Chongming has gone to take care of his wife. I don't know if he has the time to go with us." Chapter 258. Sima Yuming and the others were speechless. Chongming clearly went to take care of the egg left by his friend, but she said that he was taking care of his wife. If he heard this, who knew how he would react? "Alright, Grandpa brothers, I'm leaving." Sima Yue waved at them and left the courtyard. She went to the main courtyard. Sima Tai happened to be free. "You're leaving?" Sima Tai asked without waiting for her to speak. Sima Yue blinked and asked, "How did you know?" Sima Tai smiled. "The child with you should be the former crown prince of the South Yu Kingdom. Now that news has spread from the South Yu Kingdom, you would naturally run over to watch the show." Sima Yue did not expect Sima Tai to know about this and said, "An old fox is an old fox, nothing can be hidden from you. Since you already know, I don't need to say anything more. Pay attention to your safety and attend the meeting on time." Sima Tai said. "I know." Sima Yue said, "I'm going to look for the same person." "Go." Sima Tai waved his hand. After Sima Yue came out, she went to a mountain outside of Anyang City and came to a cave. She called Little Roar out and merged with him. Then she swaggered into the cave. Tong Ming, who was in the cave, felt someone enter. He opened his eyes and looked outside, then closed them again. On a stone platform in front of him, an egg covered in veins lay quietly. If you look closely, you will see that there are circles of golden red lines in those lines. Sima Yue came in with a spiritual fruit in her mouth. When she saw Tong Ming, she said, "Tong Ming, I'm here to see your wife." Chong Ming didn't even bother to open his eyes and ignored her. Ever since she found out that there was a female bird in the egg, she had been calling him wife. Now he was immune to it. Sima Yue held the spirit fruit in her mouth and walked around the egg twice. Then she took out 2 herbs and a small half of the golden snake fruit. She created a flame and threw the herbs into the fire to refine them. Now she could directly use fire to refine the ingredients, so she didn't need to use a pill furnace every time. After refining it, she retracted the flame, and the essence landed on the egg. Soon it was all sucked in. Tong Ming had already opened his eyes when she was refining the herbs. When he saw her holding the spirit fruit in her mouth and refining the rare herbs, the corner of his mouth twitched. Sima Yue took a bite of the spiritual fruit and said, "Chongming, your wife has eaten a lot of good things from me in the past year. When will she break out of her shell?" "I came out when I was supposed to." Chongming said, "What are you doing here today?" "I need to talk to you about something," Sima Yue said. She told him about Ouyang Fei's situation and then said that she wanted to invite him to go with her to South Yu Kingdom. That would be safer. After hearing this, Chongming was silent for a while and said, "We'll leave the day after tomorrow." "What?" Sima Yue asked. Her eyes widened as she stared at the egg. "Don't tell me that your wife is about to be born?" Chongming glanced at her and closed his eyes, ignoring her. Sima Yue did not care either. She released her fusion with Little Roar and stared at the egg with Little Roar. Maybe if you give it something to eat it will come out," Little Roar said. "But it just absorbed a lot of good things." Sima Yue said. "Why don't you give it some honey to drink?" Little Roar said. "That's fine. Anyway, it can be reborn." Sima Yue nodded and took out a bottle of honey. She mixed it with water and poured it on the egg bit by bit. Chongming let them do it. Anyway, what they did was good for the egg. However, he did not think that they would be able to make the bird come out earlier. Half a day later he suddenly heard a kacha sound. It was very soft, but it did not escape his ears. "Aya, it's coming out, it's coming out." Sima Yue hugged Little Roar and shouted in front of the egg. "It's really coming out. Do you think it will recognize us when it comes out?" Little Roar said. "Probably." Sima Yue said uncertainly, Isn't there a saying that it has a baby bird complex? Oh, maybe it will really recognize us. Little Roar said. Kacha dash, the crack on the egg became bigger. Even Chongming came over. The three of them stared at the egg closely. Kacha dash, after the crack on the egg the speed of cracking increased. Very quickly, a bird's head could be seen squeezing out from the crack. It looked at Sima Yue and Chongming and said a sentence that shocked the two of them. It said, "Daddy, Mommy." Ha dash. Little Roar hugged his stomach and laughed loudly. He pointed at Sima Yue and said, You're a mother. Ah. Sima Yue pinched Little Roar with both hands to prevent him from laughing at her. Mommy? Mommy? Little Chick looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. Then it quickly learned this word and looked at Sima Yue and said, Mommy, Mommy. Sima Yue's face darkened and said, I'm not your mommy. I'm not a big bird. However, Little Chick did not care. It placed its head on the eggshell and looked at Sima Yue with its round eyes while calling for its mommy. Little Roar laughed uncontrollably. He pointed at Chongming and asked, Who is this? Daddy. Little Chick replied. Is this the rhythm of pairing the two of you together? Little Roar was already lying on the stone table laughing. Sima Yue stretched out her hand and poked Little Chick's head and said, He's your husband. You're his wife. Do you know that? Little Chick looked at Chongming suspiciously. It nodded and said, Hubby. That's right. Sima Yue laughed. However, she was shocked by Little Chick's words. Hubby, Mommy. Ptaha. Little Roar laughed until he was out of breath. This Little Chick was really too cute. At this moment even Chongming could not remain calm. He was the husband and she was the mother. Wouldn't that make her his mother-in-law? Kaihong, I'm your uncle. I'm your father's friend. He stretched out his hand and touched Little Chick's forehead, helping her accept the inheritance in her mind. Little Chick's gaze turned from confusion to clarity. From the inheritance, she knew her own species and understood the differences between the species. Uncle, thank you for saving me. It looked at Chongming with gratitude. Then it looked at Sima Yue and called out, Mommy. I'm not your mommy. Don't you know that already? Sima Yue said. But I like you. When I was in the egg I remembered your taste. You always give me good food to eat. Little Chick said. You can call me Big Sister. Sima Yue said. Then she said, No, if you call Chongming uncle and call me Big Sister, wouldn't he be one generation above me? You can call him Big Brother. Chongming's face was full of black lines. He said coldly, I'm from the same generation as her father. I'm more than 1,000 years older than you. Old monster. Sima Yue complained softly. In the end, Kaihong, who was also Little Chick, decided to call them Big Sister and Uncle. Sima Yue looked at Kaihong eating her own eggshell. She suddenly thought of something. Don't spirit beasts have to become holy beasts to speak? It was born a holy beast. Chapter 259. Kaihong has the bloodline of the phoenix in her body. Her bloodline was originally not bad. Although she was injured later on, she ate your golden snake fruit. In this year, you have also fed her with medicinal herbs from time to time. It is not strange that she was born a holy beast. Chongming explained. Rainbow quickly finished the eggshell. When it was the last piece, it hesitated for a moment. It looked at the eggshell, then looked at Sima Yue. Then it took the eggshell and said, Sister, this is for you. Sima Yue knew that the eggshell of birds had many uses, but she also knew that it was very important to them. They could gain a lot of power from it. Now that it wanted to give her the last part of the eggshell, she was very surprised and happy. She reached out and patted its head, saying, This is something your parents left for you. Eating it can increase your strength. Eat it all. But I want to give it to you. Rainbow said. She's more useful to you. You can give me more good stuff in the future. Sima Yue said with a smile. Rainbow thought for a moment and said, All right. Then it ate all the eggshells with crunching sounds. All right, can we go to South Yu Kingdom now? Sima Yue asked. Chongming nodded. They were originally waiting for the rainbow to come out, and now that it had come out, he was naturally willing to follow her to the South Yu Kingdom. They first went to Linchuan City, and from there they took a transfer array to the South Yu Kingdom's capital, Eternal Peace City. When they arrived at Halcyon City, they were interrogated at the Soul Master Guild. Sima Yue even sensed the aura of many experts. It seems that the Emperor of South Yu is very afraid of Ouyang. Bei Gong Tang said as she supported Sima Yue. That's not true. Sima Yue said, Ouyang's appearance will shake his position in the South Yu Kingdom. He will definitely think of a way to kill him. Chongming stood to the side with rainbow mimicry standing on his shoulder. Sister is so pitiful. The feathers on Rainbow's body were colorful, attracting many people to watch. Who built this teleportation portal? It's such an inferior product. Sima Yue complained. Alright, if you're not feeling well you should speak less. Wei Ziqi said, let's find a place to stay first, then we can gather some information. They found a nearby inn to stay. Sima Yue called Ouyang Fei out and asked, do you have anyone you can rely on? Yes, but I don't know how he is now. Ouyang Fei said, and I don't know if they are still the same as before. Let's go and take a look. Sima Yue said, if he's reliable, let him come over and tell you about the situation here. We still have a few days to make arrangements. I'll give you the address. Ouyang Fei said. Ouyang Fei gave them an address and Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi went to gather information. Sima Yue took the opportunity to sleep for a while. When she woke up she was still feeling unwell. In order not to delay things she entered the spirit pagoda. When Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu returned, Sima Yue had already rested. The few of them were nestled in her room to talk about the results of the day. We went to 2 places today and found out that one of the people you mentioned had already sided with the South Yu Emperor. The other one did not give face to the South Yu Emperor and is having a hard time now. How are my grandfather and the others doing now? Ouyang Fei asked. Wei Ziqi shook his head and said, we can't see the situation over there. Right now, many soldiers have isolated that area. Most people are not allowed to go near it. If you ask me, we should call that person over tonight and get him to tell us about the situation in the imperial capital. Fatty Chu said. That's fine too. Sima Yue agreed. If we go around asking about the situation here, we will definitely attract the attention of the imperial family. Why don't we just find someone to ask? Alright. Then let's go find him and ask him. Ouyang Fei said. After that, he looked at Wei Ziqi and the others and said, I'll have to trouble you guys this time. Be careful. We will. Wei Ziqi finished speaking and left with Fatty Chu. Deep into the night, no one was resting. When the waiter downstairs was about to fall asleep, Wei Ziqi and the others brought someone back. The person's entire body was covered in a cloak and the wide cloak made it impossible for anyone to see his identity. Wei Ziqi knocked on the door and brought the person in. Your Highness. When the person saw Ouyang Fei in the room, he took off his cloak and rushed over, kneeling in front of him. Uncle Gue, get up first. Ouyang Fei helped him up. Your Highness, you're finally back. Uncle Gue stood up with the help of his strength and said, I knew that you were definitely still alive and have been waiting for you to come back. Have you been well all these years? I've been well. Ouyang Fei said, Uncle Gue, where are my mother and grandfather now? What's the situation like? Your Highness, don't be anxious. They are currently not in danger. Uncle Gue comforted him. Ouyang Dong wants you to come back so he will naturally let them live. It's just that their current situation is not very good. Where are they now? They are all locked up in the Imperial Palace's prison. Uncle Gue said, after Ouyang Dong ascended the throne, he has always been good to the Imperial concubine. However, a few days ago, he suddenly said that the Imperial concubine was seriously ill and wanted Sang Darren and the others to enter the palace to visit her. Who would have thought that after entering, they would all be arrested and said that they were plotting a rebellion and that they would be beheaded. When Ouyang Fei heard Uncle Gue's words, his face turned green and he said hatefully, 6 years ago he was the one who secretly made a move against me. When I was out, he sent people to kill me, forcing me to hide in the Sophia mountain range. Recently I went to Dongqin Kingdom. Now he even wants to touch my mother and grandfather. 6 years ago it was really him who sent people to kill you? Uncle Gue asked as he wiped his tears. The people who tried to kill me were all from the Li family. Imperial concubine Li has always wanted to get rid of me, so it is normal for her family to do this. Ouyang Fei said. Ever since you went missing, the previous emperor no longer cared about the Sang family. The Sang family was declining day by day, while the Li family was like the sun in the sky, becoming more and more powerful. Uncle Gue said, these years they have become much stronger, becoming the main force supporting Ouyang Dong's ascension. No matter how much Ouyang Dong's strength increases, it will not increase by much. If he wants to ascend the throne, he naturally needs someone to protect him. And the Li family needs a puppet emperor to control the entire South Yu kingdom. Ouyang Fei clenched his fist. I originally wanted to let him live for 2 more years, but I never thought that he would be so anxious to seek death. Then I will grant him his wish. Your Highness, what do you plan to do? Uncle Gue asked. Didn't he want me to appear? Naturally I will appear and pull him down from the throne, making him and the Li family cease to exist forever. Your Highness, you must not be rash. Uncle Gue said agitatedly. Ouyang Dong calculated that you would appear, so he set up this trap. If you really go out like this, you will definitely be killed by him. You only have a few people now, but he has an entire army and guards. Chapter 260. Uncle Gue, don't worry, I won't be impulsive. Ouyang Fei said, I'm no longer the child from back then. Since I'm here, I'll definitely save Mother and the others. Your Highness has grown up. Uncle Gue said as he wiped his tears. Tell us about the situation in the capital. Tell us who followed Ouyang Dong. Ouyang Fei said, since those people dared to betray me, then we'll eradicate them all. When Uncle Gue heard Ouyang Fei's words, he was first stunned, then overjoyed. He knew that Ouyang Fei would never boast so casually. Since he said so, he must have the strength to back it up. Throughout the night, Uncle Gue had been telling them about the current situation in the capital. He knew which powers were dependent on the Li clan, which were close to the Sang clan, which were neutral and could be won over. He knew all about how many spirit paragons and spirit emperors these powers had. Of course, in his words, these were all on the surface. He didn't know how many people were hiding. Wei Ziqi saw that he was very familiar with the matters of these powers and asked him why he knew so much about them. I've always believed that His Highness would come back, so I've been paying attention to what's going on in the capital. Uncle Gue said, although it seems like I haven't been doing well these years, I've actually been paying attention to these things. Uncle Gue, thank you for your hard work. Ouyang Fei said gratefully. Your Highness is exaggerating. From what Uncle Gue said, this Ouyang Dong's power is quite big. Sima Yue said. The people in the room rolled their eyes at her. Wasn't this nonsense? Which emperor was not powerful? Why are you all staring at me like that? Sima Yue said, I haven't finished speaking. Go ahead. Sima Yue snorted and continued, what I mean is the other party is so powerful. With just the few of us, we might not be able to pull him down from his throne. We need to gather the forces here. But how can we get so many powers to unite in such a short period of time? Fatty Chu asked. Actually, if Sir Sang was here, he would be able to resolve this matter. Uncle Gue said, these powers normally listen to his orders. However, he is currently imprisoned in the Imperial Palace and cannot come out. Then we just have to rescue him? Fatty Chu said. That won't do. If Sir Sang comes out, Ouyang Dong will be alerted. When the time comes, there will definitely be complications. Uncle Gue said. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, what if we switch him out? That way no one will find out and he can secretly contact those people. This idea is good, but there's no way to implement it. Right now we have no way of finding someone like Senior Sang. Uncle Gue said. That's not necessarily true. Sima Yue summoned 1,000 resonance and fused with it. Then 2 Ouyang Feis appeared in the house. Not only did they look the same, but they also had the same temperament. How is this possible? She looks exactly the same. Uncle Gue looked at Sima Yue and couldn't see any difference. Sima Yue and 1,000 resonance disintegrated and said, it's just a trick. I didn't turn into Ouyang's appearance. It's just that you guys saw us as him. Uncle Gue stared blankly and then understood, this is similar to an illusion? You can say that. Sima Yue said, I'll replace Sir Sang, how about that? Good. This way no one will be able to tell that you're a fake. Uncle Gue said excitedly. Then I'll be in charge of pretending to be your grandfather and then rescue them on that day. We'll coordinate from the inside. Sima Yue said. Then we'll be in charge of the outside. Wei Ziqi said. Then it's settled. I'll leave Ye Guang here and let it tell me the situation outside through the contract. Sima Yue said. Okay. Time is tight. I'll switch out Sir Sang tonight. Sima Yue said, Chongming, do you have a way to send me in? Chongming nodded. This small matter was nothing to him. I'll go with you. Otherwise, I'm afraid grandfather won't believe you. Ouyang Fei said. That's what I was thinking. Sima Yue said with a smile. Half an hour later, Sima Yue and Ouyang Fei arrived at the palace's prison and successfully met with the Sang family members. The Sang family's important figures were all here. 2 or 3 people were in one cell and there were about 7 or 8 of them locked up in more than 10 cells. When Ouyang Fei entered and saw the Sang family members locked up, his eyes immediately turned red. Grandfather, grandmother, uncle. He ran to Sang Luan's cell and shouted for the people inside. When they entered, everyone knew that someone had come. However, no one paid them any attention because they knew that it would be Ouyang Dong's men. When they heard Ouyang Fei's voice, they all thought that they were hallucinating and no one opened their eyes to look at him. Grandfather, grandmother. Ouyang Fei shouted again. This time, Sang Luan realized that it wasn't a hallucination and suddenly opened his eyes. Seeing Ouyang Fei outside the cell, he stood up and said, "Fei, you're back?" "Yes, grandfather, I'm back." Ouyang Fei took out a key and opened the cell door. He lowered his head and walked in. "Fei is back. It's really you?" Ouyang Fei's grandmother stepped forward and grabbed Ouyang Fei's hand as tears streamed down her face. "Grandmother, it's me. I'm back." Ouyang Fei held on to her. "Grandmother, I'm sorry. I've made you all suffer and only returned now. It's good that you're still alive." Grandmother wiped her tears. "Aha, Fei, is still alive." Ouyang Fei's uncle and aunt saw that he was still alive and were extremely happy. "Uncle, aunt, wait a few more days. Once we finish setting things up outside, we'll bring you out," Ouyang Fei said. Sang Luan saw that Ouyang Fei had already grown up and said, "Fei, that Ouyang Dong guessed that you were still alive and used us to lure you out. Why did you come to the capital?" "Grandfather, don't worry. Since I'm back, I've already made preparations." Ouyang Fei said, "That Ouyang Dong wants my life. I still want to settle the old score from a few years ago. From what I know, that Ouyang Dong has already made arrangements inside and outside the palace. Now that you've suddenly returned, how are you going to deal with his soldiers?" Sang Luan said. "I'll have to rely on grandfather for this." Ouyang Fei smiled and said, "We've already discussed this with your uncle. We'll let you go out and secretly contact our forces. On that day we'll pull Ouyang Dong down from the throne." "Where can I go out?" "If I go out, I'm afraid that in less than a quarter of an hour, Ouyang Dong will guess that you're back," Sang Luan said. "He won't." Ouyang Fei pulled Sima Yue and said, "Grandfather, let me introduce you to two people. This is Yue and this is Chongming. Yue will stay here and pretend to be you. It'll be absolutely safe." "Greetings to Grandfather Sang." Sima Yue smiled and bowed to him. Chapter 261. Fei, it's so dangerous. Why did you bring your friend here? Sang Luan said, "You guys better leave quickly. If Ouyang Dong finds out, you won't be able to leave." "Grandfather, don't worry. I'm here to take you out," Ouyang Fei said. "Didn't I say I can't go out? Now that we know you're still alive, we're relieved," Sang Luan said. "That's right. Fei, you should leave quickly," Ouyang Fei's grandmother also advised. Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue and said, "Yue, sorry to trouble you." Sima Yue nodded and called Thousand Resonance out. The human and beast combined and another Sang Luan appeared in front of everyone. "This is?" Everyone in the cell cried out in surprise. "Grandfather, Yue will pretend to be you for the next few days. Ouyang Dong won't notice anything amiss. You need to take charge of the situation outside and unite all those forces." Ouyang Fei said, "On the day of the execution, Yue will bring Grandma and Uncle out. Then we can work together from the inside." Sang Luan was also quite shocked to see another version of himself. No matter if it was his appearance or aura, it was exactly the same as his. "But won't you be in danger?" He was still worried. Ouyang Fei smiled and said, "With her here, the ones in danger will only be others." Sang Luan couldn't help but think highly of Yue when he saw that his grandson had such a high opinion of her. He then nodded and said, "If that's the case, I'll go with you." "All right, Grandpa, let's go." "Wait a minute." Sima Yue called out to them, "Grandpa Sang, were your cultivations sealed by drugs?" "Yes." Sang Luan nodded. "Can I check?" "All right." Sima Yue checked Sang Luan's pulse and said to Ouyang Fei, "It's not a powerful poison. You can refine the antidote after you get out. You should have all the other herbs. These are the main ingredients." After saying that, she took out a few medicinal herbs that still had dirt on them and gave them to Ouyang Fei. Ouyang Fei knew what kind of pill he was going to refine with just one look at those herbs. He took the herbs and said, "All right. I'll have to trouble you here." "Don't worry." Sima Yue smiled. "Elder sister, I'll stay with you," Rainbow said. "Kaihong, wait for me outside with your husband. Otherwise you will be bored here." Sima Yue smiled and patted Saihong's head. Chongming could not be bothered with Sima Yue. He grabbed Rainbow and walked out. Seeing this, Ouyang Fei quickly pulled Sang Luan away and locked the cell door. "Yue, I'm really sorry that you have to go to jail with us," Grandma said apologetically. "Grandma, you're too polite." Sima Yue sat by the wall and said, "I've known Ouyang for more than 6 years. He helped me before, so it's only right that I help him now." "You and Fei, have known each other for so long?" Grandma asked in surprise. If that was the case, she must have known Ouyang Fei not long after he disappeared. Yes. Not only have we known each other for so long, but we've also lived together. Other than sleeping and cultivating, everyone is together. Sima Yue said. Everyone? Yes, the 5 of us. Sima Yue said. Yue, can you tell us about Feier's life these past few years? Grandma sat down. Sure. Sima Yue smiled and agreed. Then she told them everything that had happened since she met Ouyang Fei. Hearing that her grandson was so powerful and had suffered so much, the old woman was happy and heartbroken. Hearing about their friendship, Ouyang Fei's relatives were even more grateful to her. Thank you all for letting him grow up in such an environment. If he didn't meet you all, who knows what he would be like now. Grandma thanked them sincerely. Meeting him is our fortune. Sima Yue smiled and said, All right, I'm going to refine the antidote for you all now. You're also an alchemist? A young lady in her 20s asked. I know a little. Sima Yue said. She threw Little Roar out and let him set up a barrier. Then she took out a table of herbs and a pill furnace. Some of the herbs were the main ingredients for Ouyang Fei. Little Roar waved his claws and the entire prison was surrounded by a barrier. The sound of her refining would not be heard outside. Then she began to refine the pills. She refined the herbs, fused them and condensed the pills. The pills were not high grade, but she was still serious. Although the Sang family also supported alchemists, they rarely saw alchemists refine pills. Seeing Sima Yue refine pills, everyone felt that it was very mysterious. Sima Yue continuously refined 4 batches of pills. Then she kept the pill furnace and let Little Roar remove the barrier. She took 1 pill and gave it to Grandma. Then she passed it to Little Roar and let him distribute it to everyone in the prison. Little Roar hugged the jade bottle and flew to the prison door. His round body was stuck between 2 iron bars. Yiyu, I'm stuck. Little Roar shouted. I saw it. Sima Yue said, Who asked you to be so fat? It's time to lose weight. Why would I need to lose weight when I'm so handsome? Little Roar twisted his body in the middle of the iron bars and became even smaller. However, he still managed to pass through. He distributed the pills to everyone and then flew back to the prison. His body moved a little and returned to his normal size. Grandma, eat these pills and meditate to refine them. You should be able to recover your cultivation by tomorrow. Sima Yue said. Grandma took the pills and sighed. She said worriedly, We have the antidote now, but we don't know how Yue is doing. She was poisoned with us and is under house arrest alone. We don't know her situation. And Yue was not locked up with you guys. This was out of our expectations. Before we came, we thought that she was with you guys. Sima Yue said, But this is not a problem. Let Little Roar send the antidote over. But there is a barrier outside Yue's palace. If anyone goes in and activates the barrier, those guards will go. Grandma said. No problem. Those barriers have no effect on Little Roar. Sima Yue said. Grandma, don't worry. Just leave it to me. Little Roar acted cute. Sima Yue passed the pills to Little Roar and said, Once you go there, don't come back. Stay there and protect Aunt Yu. Bring Aunt Yu to meet up with us on that day. All right. Little Roar was usually a little unreliable, but at this time he was more reliable. When you go, show this to her. She will believe you. Grandma took off the hairpin on her head and passed it to Little Roar. Little Roar took the hairpin and hugged the jade bottle. His body moved and quickly became a white dot. He took the pills and the token and left. Chapter 262. Little Roar left the prison cell and followed the route his grandmother had told him to find Sang Muyu's palace. However, he got lost after walking for a short distance. Yu, I can't find the way. It used its contract to contact Sima Yue. Sima Yue did not expect Little Roar to have a poor sense of direction and asked, Where are you now? I don't know where we are. Little Roar said, I saw a very luxurious palace with many people. I saw that big bad guy. Big bad guy? Which bad guy? Sima Yue asked. It's that old fellow from the Nalan clan. The one we met the last time in Linchuan City. Little Roar said. He was talking to a young man wearing a yellow robe. Describe the place to me, Sima Yue said. Little Roar described the appearance of the palace and Sima Yue passed it on to Ouyang Fei's grandmother. His grandmother said with certainty, that is Ouyang Fei's bedroom. The one in yellow must be him. How did Ouyang Dong get together with the Nalan clan? Sima Yue asked suspiciously. Little Roar, go and listen to what they are saying. Alright Yu. Little Roar passed through the barrier and approached their house. Even though there were many experts here, no one noticed it. In Sima Yue's words, Sima Yue's fighting ability was not strong, but it was blessed in this aspect. As long as it wanted to, even Chongming might not be able to find its trace. Inside the house, Nailan Hong and Ouyang Dong were sitting opposite each other. The two of them were leisurely sipping tea. "Your Majesty, what do you think?" Nailan Hong asked. Ouyang Dong's expression was ugly as he said, "Is what you said true? Did the Sima family really send someone here?" "Of course." Nailan Hong said, "Ouyang Fei and the boy from the Sima family are very close. We got the news that the boy has left the Sima family for several days. There's no one in Ouyang Fei's courtyard either. Damn Ouyang Fei, how dare he gather the Sima family here?" Ouyang Dong scolded, "But even so, he's just a kid from the Sima family. What kind of waves can he cause in my Southview? If we cooperate with you because of this and even use a city in exchange, then my Southview kingdom is not some foolish fool." "You're wrong. That kid is not alone. Many people from the Sima family are missing. Can you say that they didn't follow her here?" Nailan Hong said, "Besides, our Nailan family will not only help you deal with the Sima family, but also help you deal with other people. Although you have the support of the Li family, there are still many people who support Ouyang Fei. They don't believe that Ouyang Fei is dead. If he appears, at least half of the people in the capital will rebel against you. Do you have that much power to deal with them?" Ouyang Dong was silent. This was also something he was worried about. Although he brazenly said that he wanted to lure Ouyang Fei out, but if he really did come out, he had to act immediately. Otherwise, if those people reacted and supported him, then he would be in trouble. Nailan Hong saw Ouyang Dong's expression and knew that he was worried about this matter. He continued, "There are definitely many people in the capital who are watching you. Your strength they all know. Although that Sang Luan has been locked up by you, the people who follow him will definitely rebel. They know your strength and our Nailan family can be your trump card." "What you said is only a possibility," Ouyang Dong said. "That's right, it is indeed a possibility. But what if this possibility happens?" Nailan Hong said, "If this possibility overthrows your rule, what do you plan to do? Besides, the city that we want is only a small city on the border between you and Central Wu Kingdom. To your large territory, it's just a drop in the ocean. Using a small city in exchange for your safety, this is a good deal." Ouyang Dong was silent for a while and said, "All right, I'll cooperate with you. Your Majesty is wise." Nailan Hong smiled and said, "We can now discuss the details, how many people we will send and so on." "All right." Little Roar told Sima Yu everything that he heard, including the details of their discussion and the specific plan. It was only after Nailan Hong left that he left the palace. After Sima Yue heard Little Roar's words, her heart was filled with doubt. A portion of the Sima family left the family? Where did they go? It couldn't be that they really came to find her, right? Maybe they just left because of something. She comforted herself. After that, she asked her grandmother to help guide Little Roar to Sang Muyu's palace. The luxurious palace was currently deserted. Only 2 or 3 servant girls were still in the palace. The others had all left. When Little Roar entered, he saw a middle-aged beauty leaning against the window in a daze. "Imperial concubine, you should rest early." A servant girl in a red dress walked over and said, "That's right. Imperial concubine, your cultivation has been sealed. Your body is no different from a normal person's. What if you fall sick?" Another servant girl walked up and said, "This servant girl should be a servant girl from the Sang family. She had a good relationship with Sang Muyu." She took a cloak and put it on her. Sang Muyu did not have any reaction. She only looked at the moon outside the window and said, "Ching Ching, if Fei is no longer here, what does it matter if I'm well or not? Imperial concubine, His Highness is definitely still alive." Ching Ching said with certainty, "If His Highness is no longer here, Ouyang Dong would not do these things. I've heard people say that because His Highness is still alive he found out. That's why he used this method to lure him out. If Fei is still alive, then he shouldn't come. This place is so dangerous. If he comes, he will fall right into Ouyang Dong's trap. That Ouyang Dong actually dared to do such a thing. He will definitely not have a good ending." The servant girl in the red dress said, "Imperial concubine, you should go back and rest." Ching Ching advised again. Sang Muyu shook her head, "I don't know how father and the others are doing. The day of execution is getting closer and closer, but they are still in prison. I, as their daughter, am unable to save them." "Don't worry. Your father has already left the prison." A voice sounded out of nowhere, startling the 4 people in the room. "Oh." Ching Ching and the others hurriedly went forward, protecting Sang Muyu in the middle. "Beauty, you're so beautiful." Little Roar's body slowly grew bigger in the air. Then, he threw himself into Sang Muyu's embrace. What is this thing? Another servant girl in a blue dress saw Little Roar suddenly appear and cried out in shock. Little Roar laid in Sang Muyu's embrace and stared straight at her. His eyes were almost filled with love. Sang Muyu quickly calmed down and said, "Who are you? Why did you come in?" Little Roar flung his bangs that he did not have and said proudly, "I am the handsome and elegant Little Roar. I am here to protect you, beauty." Chapter 263. When Sang Muyu heard Little Roar's narcissistic self-introduction, she laughed and said, "What a cute little fellow. Where did you come from?" "I came from the prison," Little Roar said. "Prison?" "Yes, Mayuyu asked me to deliver the antidote to the beauties. Your mother also asked me to take her hairpin as a token." Little Roar took out the hairpin and jade bottle, saying, "The poison in the Sang family has already been cured. You're the only one left." "Are you serious?" Sang Muyu couldn't believe her ears. Little Roar placed the hairpin in her hand and said, "Look, this is the hairpin your mother gave you. With Mayuyu here you can rest assured." "This is mother's hairpin." When Sang Muyu saw her mother's hairpin again, she couldn't help but cry. Little Roar hurriedly flew up and handed over a handkerchief with his furry paws, saying, "Beauty, don't cry. They're doing very well in prison. They're preparing to cooperate with Ouyang Fei and the others to drag Ouyang Dong down." Sang Muyu, who was wiping her tears, paused. She grabbed Little Roar and said, "What did you say? Bear is back?" "Ow ow." Little Roar struggled twice and said, "Beauty, although I really like it when you hug me, you don't have to use so much strength." The three palace maids looked at Little Roar. No matter how they looked at it, they felt that Little Roar was teasing their mistress. When Sang Muyu heard Little Roar's words, she loosened her grip a little and said, "Sorry, I was too agitated. You said Fair is back?" "Yeah. He came back with Mayuyu," Little Roar said. "Beauty, you don't have to worry about him. He's fine and hasn't been caught. Moreover, he's now with your father, contacting people outside to prepare to attack the palace." "My father left the palace? Did Ouyang Dong not notice that he was missing? If they discover that Fei is back, what should we do?" Sang Muyu said anxiously. "That won't happen. Ru is in prison pretending to be your father." Little Roar comforted. "Little Roar, tell me the details of the situation." Sang Muyu tried her best to calm herself down as she spoke to Little Roar. "All right." Little Roar nodded his head and explained everything in detail. After that he said, "So beautiful lady, you don't have to worry. They will arrange everything." After Sang Muyu heard this, she was slightly relieved. However, she was still a little worried and asked, "What if they are discovered?" "It's all right. Even if they fail, Chongming will protect them," Little Roar said. "Who is Chongming?" Ching Ching asked. "He is Mayuyu's bodyguard. He is a sacred beast," Little Roar said. "Super sacred beast?" The four beauties were shocked and said, "Sacred beast is your master's bodyguard?" "Yeah, that's right. Previously, I heard that a sacred beast had appeared in the Sophia mountain range. I never thought that it would actually become your master's bodyguard." Hearing Little Roar's words, Sang Muyu was no longer worried. "All right, you guys should quickly eat the antidote. Yu said that after eating it and meditating for a night, you should be able to recover your cultivation by tomorrow," Little Roar said. "Then what about you?" Sang Muyu asked. "Of course I will be your protector and protect you," Little Roar said. "Mayuyu said that I will be here to protect you guys." "Then I'll have to trouble you," the red-dressed palace maid said with a smile. "Imperial concubine, now that you know the situation outside, you can finally relax. Go and eat the antidote first. If anything happens later on, you should be able to protect yourself," Ching Ching said. "All right," Sang Muyu replied. After putting down the burden in her heart, Sang Muyu's entire spirit was much better. The gloominess on her face also disappeared. That night, Sang Muyu and the rest went to cure the poison. Little Roar laid on the table not far away and kept staring at her. His lecherous nature was fully displayed. In the prison cell, Sima Yue found out about Sang Muyu's situation from Little Roar and told the Sang family members. Everyone felt a little more at ease. However, Sima Yue was still a little worried. She was still thinking about what Nalan Hong said. Did the Sima family really come to look for her when they left the clan? That shouldn't be the case. Sima Yue muttered. That old fox probably wouldn't agree to let them take the risk. However, in less than 2 days, Ye Guang sent news that made her almost jump up from the ground. Young Master Yulin and the rest are here," Ye Guang said. Sima Yue's heart skipped a beat. She held her forehead and asked helplessly, "Why are they here?" They asked. Young Master Yulin said that they were here to gain experience. Yaguang said. Sima Yue could imagine Sima Yulin's expression when he said this. She asked, "Who are they?" "Your 4 brothers are here. Young Master Yu Yang, Yulan and Yu Qing are here as well. There are a few more that I don't know, but they are going to participate in the gathering," Yaguang said. Sima Yue gritted her teeth. How could that old fox bear to let them come here? Isn't he afraid that his grandsons will die? Yaguang understood Sima Yue's feelings and said, "Young Master Yu Yang said that his grandfather said that with you around they won't be in danger. You will definitely bring them to the gathering." Sima Yue's fists clenched and unclenched again. She repeated this a few times before she finally suppressed the anger in her heart and said, "Old fox, just you wait." "Yue, what's wrong?" Ouyang Fei's grandmother asked when she saw Sima Yue trying her best to suppress her anger. "Nothing much. I just got bitten by the old fox." Sima Yue smiled before saying to Yaguang, "Tell them not to run around. Since the Nalan clan knows that they are here, who knows when they will find trouble with them." "Yes, master, I will tell them," Yaguang said. Tell them that if anyone loses an arm or a leg I won't be able to fix it for them." Sima Yue added, "So don't be curious about everything and don't rush forward." "Yes, master." Yaguang relayed Sima Yue's words to Sima Yu Yang and the others. Sima Yu Yang nodded seriously saying, "Even if we don't lose an arm or a leg we won't run around. I can already imagine how Yu looks like right now when she's hopping mad." Sima Yu Qing covered her mouth and laughed. "That's right. She's obviously younger than us, but she always takes the position of a protector and takes care of us." Sima Yulan said, "Seeing her like this I can't even relate her to that little guy from Dongqin Kingdom. Although Yu is angry, what she said is right. We can't go out alone. The Nalan clan is eyeing us covetously." Yulin said. "We know that." Sima Yu Yang said, "I just don't know if Yu would be so angry that she would vomit blood if she knew that we came here to break the relationship between the Nalan clan and the South Eclipse Kingdom." Sima Yulin glanced at Sima Yu Yang and said lightly, "You can try. Tell her and see her reaction." Chapter 264. Crazy Wife, the 5th Miss of the Godly Doctor. Chapter 264. 1, 2, 3 Fall. Author Sima Yue asked Little Roar to walk around the palace whenever he had time to see if he could hear any news. Needless to say, Little Roar, who had no sense of direction, managed to hear quite a few things even though he kept getting lost. She told Sima Yue, then told Yaguang, who then told Ouyang Fei and the rest. Other than that, she did not really care about what was happening outside. After all, this was Ouyang Fei's territory, so she just had to cooperate with him. A few days passed very quickly, and the entire capital was enveloped in a tense atmosphere. Seeing that there were more and more patrols on the streets as well as more and more unfamiliar faces, the locals knew that something big was about to happen. On the evening before the announcement of the execution, Sima Yue received a notification from Yaguang, saying that everything was ready and that she just had to bring people and kill them the next day. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yue told them that someone was coming. Very quickly a group of guards walked in. "Master Sang, we are here to send you on your way," the leader of the guards said coldly as he walked in front of Sima Yue and the rest's prison. Sima Yue looked at him calmly and said, "Just the few of you? It's already considered your honor to have so many people here." The leader of the guards said, "You are now just a bunch of useless people, any random person can get rid of you." Let's go." "Fine, let's go. Open the door," Sima Yue said. The guard saw her cold expression and snorted. He waved his hand and a jailer came up and opened the door. The Sang family members all came out. "Let's go," the leader of the guards urged. "We can walk on our own. We don't need to trouble you to lead the way for us," Sima Yue said with her own voice. "What did you say?" The leader of the guards looked at Sima Yue and felt that her voice was not right, so he looked at her cautiously. Sima Yue smiled and returned to her original appearance. She smiled and said, "I said I will bring them out. You don't have to worry." "Who are you?" The leader of the guards took out his weapon and pointed it at Sima Yue. "Don't be like this. You won't even have the strength to do this soon. Save your strength for now." Sima Yue smiled evilly and looked at the number of guards. 1, 2, 3 down. Bang! Bang! As her voice fell, the guards all fell limply to the ground. "Yue, this really is useful," the younger generation of the Sang clan exclaimed in surprise. Sima Yue picked up a jade bottle from the ground and covered it with a lid, saying, The poison that I refine is definitely something that can even kill a spirit emperor. This can only be used in a sealed environment. I'll show you other poisonous powders when we're outside. Let's go. We'll go pick up Aunt Yu first and take care of some people in the palace while we're at it. Let's go. Outside the palace, Little Roar patted his paws and said, "This is Yu Yu's newly developed poison. How do you feel? Do you feel like you're going to faint?" A group of guards pointed their weapons at him. They did not expect him to fly around and scatter a lot of white powder. Hearing him say this, everyone felt dizzy. "Oh no, we've been poisoned." Those guards fell down one after another, all of them unconscious. Sang Muyu brought 3 palace maids out. Seeing the people on the ground, she said, "You killed them all?" Little Roar shook his head and revealed a pure expression, saying, "How could I do such a cruel thing? I only made them all faint and let them sleep for a few days." "This powder can make them sleep for so long?" Ching Ching asked. "Of course." Little Roar said, "This was developed by Yu Yu. She says it can, then it can." "Alright, Yu Yu said that they're already out. Let's go and meet them." "Alright." Little Roar. Sima Yuyue's voice sounded. The 4 people and 1 beast looked over and saw a group of people rushing over. "Mother." Sang Muyu ran towards them and came in front of Ouyang Fei's grandmother. Looking at her emotionally, she asked, "Mother, are you guys alright?" "We're fine. With Yue here, how could anything happen to us?" Grandmother said with a smile. Sang Muyu looked at Sima Yue and said, "Thank you. Fei Er is really lucky to have a friend like you." "And you're too polite." Sima Yue said with a smile, "Has Little Roar been harassing you these few days?" And? Sang Muyu did not understand what she meant. Sima Yue rubbed Little Roar's big ears and said, "This guy is a little lecherous. When he sees a beauty he drools and can't walk. He must have been harassing you a lot these few days." "Ehe." Sang Muyu laughed and said, "Little Roar is very cute. Alright, let's go. Let's put down the people in the palace and then go out to meet up with Fei Er. I just caught someone to ask and he said that Ouyang Dong has already left the palace." "Alright, let's go," Sang Muyu said. Sima Yue and the others walked all the way from the palace to the outside. With Little Roar scattering the powder in front of them, they practically walked straight out. Knowing that Ouyang Rua and Nailan Hong had gone to the execution grounds, Ouyang Fei also went there directly. Because the rest of the Sang clan had been brought there, they also rushed there. In the inn, Ye Guang told Ouyang Fei that Sima Yue had already brought the Sang clan out of the palace. Clan head Ouyang Dong came out from the side hall and has already gone to the execution grounds. A guard reported, he captured the rest of the Sang clan and is waiting for the people in the palace to bring Madam and the others there. The others are all within expectations. Ouyang Fei stood up and said, "Grandfather, bring some people to take care of the Li clan. I'll go and settle things with him." "Alright, you must be careful," Sang Luan instructed. "I know. Grandfather, you too," Ouyang Fei said. Sang Luan brought his men and left. These few days he already knew the strength of Bei Gong Tang and the others. He also knew that Chongming was a sacred beast, so he was more at ease when he left. Fatty Chu stretched out his hand and said, "These 2 years I haven't had a real fight. Today I can finally loosen up my muscles and bones." "We're not fighting today. Take it easy," Wei Ziqi said. "I know. That's why I've already made preparations," Fatty Chu said as he took out a few sets of equipment and distributed them to everyone, saying, "I made this when I had nothing to do. Although the rank isn't very high, it can still defend against average attacks. It can't even defend against high-ranked attacks. What's the point of using it?" Sima Yuyang said. "This is to prevent others from harming it in times of war. If you don't want it, you can return it to me," Fatty Chu said as he stretched out his hand to snatch it back. Sima Yuyang stepped back and put on the armor, saying, "I couldn't tell that your craftsmanship was not bad. This thing looks a little thick, but it doesn't weigh much when I wear it." Peng dash, suddenly an attack landed on his stomach, causing him to retreat 2 steps. Sima Yuyang steadied himself and looked at the perpetrator, asking, "You ran, what are you doing?" Chapter 265. Sima Yu ran calmly looked at Sima Yuyang who was about to jump up and down, saying, "What's the rush? I'm just going to see if this thing is really as useful as Fatty Chu said. This little bit of strength can't hurt you." The people in the room couldn't help but laugh when they saw the 2 of them. "Let's go." Ouyang Fei's originally nervous mood relaxed after the 2 of them interacted with each other. "And then we should go as well." Sima Yulin said, "If we go alone, we might be ambushed by the Nailan clansmen." "That's true. Sima Yuyang nodded. Thus, the group of people left the inn in a grandiose manner and headed towards the execution ground. Not long after Sima Yue led the Sang family out, they were stopped by a group of people. "Madam, Master asked us to come and pick you up," the leader said. "Where's Master?" "Old Master has already gone to the Li family and wants to stop the Li family's people midway," the leader said. "How many people are there in the execution ground?" "Every family has sent quite a few people over. At present there are no less than 1,000. "Did Fei Er go?" Sang Muyu was most concerned about her own child. His Highness should have already set off for that place. "Where's my friend?" Sima Yue asked. "They all went too." Sima Yue was a little worried about the Sima family and said to Sang Muyu, "Aunt Yu, since the Sang family's guards are already here, I will go and meet them first." Sang Muyu knew that she was worried about them and said, "I'll get someone to lead the way for you. Be careful." "All right." Sima Yue and a guard met Ouyang Fei along the way. When they saw a group of Sima family members following behind him, their faces fell. "Brother, didn't I tell you to stay at home? Why did you come here?" Sima Yuming saw her angry little face and stretched forth a hand to rub her head, saying, "Grandfather and I are also worried about you." All right, just one sentence was enough to make her unable to refute and unable to get angry. "Sai, you're clearly the youngest. We were clearly the ones protecting you in the past. When did you start to worry for us?" Sima Yuchi said as well. "Don't forget, we can also protect you now." The tension in Sima Yoyue's heart was instantly released. That's right, she wanted to protect them and their warm home, but she had neglected their desire to protect her as well. She nodded and said with a smile, "All right, I'll wait for my brothers to protect me." After speaking, she even rubbed against Sima Yuming's hand. That's right. We're brothers, you know?" Sima Yu huffed. "Got it." Sima Yue said, "In the future I will protect Grandpa and my brothers and you will protect me. We will protect each other." "All right. We also need your protection." Sima Yuming looked at her dotingly. Sob, I'm so happy." Sima Yuyang was extremely envious as he came over and said, "Yu, I'm your brother too. You have to protect me too." Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him and said, "You have Fatty's armor to protect you, you don't need me." No way, I want you to protect me." Sima Yuyang acted shamelessly. Sima Yuqing face-bombed, "How old are you? Aren't you embarrassed?" Sister, Rainbow will protect you too. You will be Rainbow too, right?" Rainbow flew over from Chongming's shoulder and grabbed onto Sima Yue's clothes. "Yes." Sima Yue placed Rainbow on Chongming's shoulder and said, "But you have to stay with your husband now. He will be able to protect you better." "Rainbow knows. Rainbow will be obedient. Right, hubby?" Rainbow said. Chongming patted Rainbow's head and said, "Don't be with her in the future. She will lead you astray. Also, I am your uncle, do you understand?" Sister said that uncles can also become hubby. "You are just my father's friend." Rainbow said seriously. Cough. The group of people were shocked by Rainbow's words, and they all pretended to cough to hide their laughter. They looked at Sima Yue. Was there anyone who taught their child like this? Even if the other party was a little bird that had just hatched, it was not right for her to teach it like this. Chongming's face had already turned black. He looked at Sima Yue, who shrunk her neck and laughed. "I was just muttering to myself. I didn't think that it would hear me. That Ouyang, let's hurry over. Your mother and the others might have already arrived." Hearing about his mother, Ouyang Fei immediately became excited and said, "Okay." Actually, everyone wanted to say that her ability to change the topic was terrible, but she grasped the opportunity well. The group of people continued to move forward. Sima Yue asked, "Yu Yang? Did the old fox really let the few of you come without worry?" Sima Yuyang was helpless towards Sima Yue calling his grandfather an old fox and said, "Grandfather said that you came and asked us if we wanted to come along. When the time comes we will participate in the meeting with you. We felt that we had been cultivating at home for the past 2 years, and it would be good to come out and experience it, so we came." "Isn't the old fox too reckless?" Sima Yue said, "If anything happens to you, how can we participate in the competition? Grandfather said that with you around we just have to hold on to our last breath." Sima Yue glared at Sima Yuyang fiercely and did not reply to him. She was thinking about how she would treat everyone to a fox feast when this was over. Very quickly they arrived at the execution ground. When the soldiers saw them, they immediately pointed their weapons at them. However, they did not charge forward but retreated with them. The execution ground was located in the southwest corner of the imperial capital. It was as big as 10 football fields. In front of them there was a jade stage with a dragon throne on it. Beside the jade stage there were rows of guards. Opposite the jade stage a group of people were forced to kneel on the ground. Ouyang Fei and the others walked in slowly. The guards did not receive any orders, so they only held their weapons and retreated. They did not attack. A man who looked similar to Ouyang Fei sat on the dragon throne. When he saw Ouyang Fei walk in, his hand on the dragon's head clenched tightly. Ouyang Fei, you really didn't die. Ouyang Dong looked at Ouyang Fei, his younger brother. You didn't die, how could I die? Ouyang Fei stood in the middle of the execution ground and looked at Ouyang Dong without a trace of fear. Humph, so many people chased after you that year but you managed to escape. Today I will no longer set up an inescapable net. You won't be able to escape even if you have wings. Is that so? But I don't plan to escape today. Ouyang Fei took out his long sword and looked at Ouyang Dong. That year you coveted my position as the crown prince and sent experts to kill me when I was out, forcing me into the Sophia mountain range. Now that you have used the Sang clan's lives to provoke me to appear, I will settle old and new grudges today and drag you down from that position. Chapter 266. Hearing Ouyang Fei's words, Ouyang Dong laughed loudly. He pointed at Ouyang Fei and said, Today I've prepared so many people for you. Aside from killing you, I'm also going to kill all of your supporters. The entire Sang family will die. You are only relying on the strength of others. Do you dare to fight me fair and square? Ouyang Fei pointed his sword at Ouyang Dong. Why should I fight you? Ouyang Dong sneered, I have so many people at my disposal, I don't need to fight with someone like you. You only want to rely on external forces to do things. You have never thought of strengthening yourself. People like you will never become strong. You will always be a weakling, a coward. Ouyang Dong was not angered by his words and said, Wait until I kill all of your family members in front of you. I wonder if you'll still be able to call me a weakling. Let's see if you have the ability. Ouyang Fei sneered. Ouyang Dong saw Ouyang Fei's expression and his heart skipped a beat. He asked the people beside him, Why haven't you brought Sang Luan and the others here yet? Your Majesty, they should have arrived a long time ago. The guard said. Then why aren't they here yet? Send someone to rush them. Ouyang Fei roared. At this time, a guard stumbled in and came to the bottom of the jade platform saying, Your Majesty, not good, the prison has been robbed. Robbed? Ouyang Dong immediately stood up and said, Weren't they heavily guarded? How did they get robbed? Your Majesty, I don't know either. We saw that they hadn't come out after so long, so we sent people in to take a look. However, we only saw the guards lying on the ground, but we didn't see any criminals. A bunch of good-for-nothings. Ouyang Dong scolded, Hurry up and find it for me. Yes, Your Majesty. The guard scrambled away. Ouyang Dong, are you looking for us? Sang Mu Yu brought the Sang clan members to the execution grounds. Concubine Dowager? Many people recognized her. Wasn't she imprisoned in the imperial palace? Why did you come out? When Ouyang Dong saw Sang Mu Yu, he was also very surprised. When he saw the Sang family members behind her, his face became terrifyingly cold. You really did escape. Yes, we escaped. Sang Mu Yu said, When you imprisoned us, I already said that the day we came out would be the day your life ends. Ouyang Fei turned around and looked at Sang Mu Yu. Seeing that familiar face, his lips trembled as he opened his mouth, yet no words came out. Fei. When Sang Mu Yu saw Ouyang Fei, she quickly stepped forward and grabbed his hand, tears streaming down her face. Mother. Ouyang Fei held Sang Mu Yu's hand and said, I've made you worry all these years. Since you're still alive, why didn't you send the news back earlier? Sang Mu Yu wanted to hit him hard, but when she reached his face, it turned into a gentle caress. I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't know the situation here, so I didn't dare to show myself. Ouyang Fei said apologetically, Originally, I wanted to wait until I became a spirit emperor before coming back. That way I would have more confidence. This child, becoming a spirit saint is easier said than done. Sang Mu Yu said, Don't tell me you intend to not come back until you become a spirit saint. Mother, I'm almost at the spirit emperor level. At the latest, I'll reach it before the end of this year. Ouyang Fei said. What? You're already a high-level spirit grandmaster? Sang Mu Yu asked in surprise. Ouyang Fei nodded. Good, my son is amazing. Sang Mu Yu said happily. When Sima Yue saw them together, she suddenly missed her own parents. She didn't know what they would be like when they saw each other again. She tugged on Bei Gong Tang's skirt and whispered in her ear, You guys stay here. I'll go with them to deal with the Nalan clan. Will it be alright for you guys to go? Bei Gongtang asked. Don't forget that we all have divine beasts. Sima Yue said, I don't see anyone from the Nalan clan here. However, I can feel a strong aura over there. I think they should be there. Then you guys be careful. If you can't handle it, call Chongming over. Bei Gongtang said. I know. Sima Yue nodded. She waved her hands at the Sima family and quietly left the execution ground. Fifth bro, why did we come out? Sima Yulu asked. Didn't you guys come because of the Nalan clan? Of course we're going to deal with them. Ouyang's side is fine, there's no need for us. Sima Yue said. If they fight like this, the entire capital will be affected. A disciple of the Sima family said, the royal family has secret guardians. Who do you think those guardians will help when the time comes? Those guardians won't appear. Sima Yuyang said. What? Aren't those guardians supposed to protect the emperor? Sima Yulu asked. That's not it. Sima Yuyang shook his head. Those guardians will only appear when the South Eclipse Kingdom is in danger. They don't care about this kind of internal conflict. That's right. These guardians don't care who the emperor is. As long as you're from the royal family, even if you kill everyone and leave only one person, they won't appear. However, if someone else comes to kill the royal family, they will appear. Sima Yuqing said. This is also to adapt to the survival of the fittest. Sima Yue said. Fifth bro, do you know how many people from the Nalan clan have come? Sima Yuming asked. The people who came this time are not weak. There are 10 spirit saints and 10 spirit paragons. Sima Yue said, the strongest should be Nalan Hong, a 4th-ranked spirit paragon. Looks like the Nalan clan doesn't care about this. Sima Yuyang said. 10 spirit paragons. If this kind of group isn't strong, then what is? Sima Yue said. They just didn't think that we would have so many divine beasts. Sima Yuran said. Furthermore, Chongming hasn't appeared in the continent for 2 years. They probably thought that he had already gone up to the upper realms. Sima Yulin added. At that time, Sima Ku had brought his people to escape and told the Nalan clan about the situation of the Sima clan. However, they didn't know much about the Nalan clan. If it weren't for the fact that Sima Yue had tamed so many divine beasts and obtained the Scarlet Queen Bee and regularly provided the clan with scarlet honey, they would definitely be at a disadvantage in this competition. If they see Chongming, they will definitely regret participating in this matter. Sima Yulu said with a smile. Oh right, Sima Ku has come as well. Sima Yue said. The Sima clan members were stunned. Sima Yuyang kept his smile and said, Grandfather said that if we meet those who betrayed us, we should execute them on the spot. Then we don't have to be merciful. Sima Yue clasped her hands together and said, but I didn't intend to be merciful from the start. Everyone rolled their eyes. Then what was she talking about? Wasn't she just teasing them? Chapter 267. They arrived at a tea house not far from the execution ground. As soon as they entered, they heard the waiter say, I'm sorry everyone. We are not open to the public today. No problem, we're not here to drink tea. Sima Yuyang said. Then you are? We're here to look for someone. Looking for someone? We don't have anyone here. We're here to look for those people upstairs, Sima Yue said and raised her voice. Sima Yue, why are you still hiding? Bang. The door of the private room upstairs opened and Sima Ku came out. When he saw Sima Yue, he shouted, How dare you come here? Today I will avenge my brother. Sima Yue scratched her nose and said, You? This is not the way to daydream. Your sacred beast has not appeared for a long time. Let's see how you escape today. Sima Ku said. Is your brain filled with bean dregs? Sima Yue looked at him with disdain, pulled out a chair and sat down saying, You want to touch me with just the few of you? Even if Chongming is not here, you are still no match for us. Shameless boasting. A middle-aged woman walked out and came to Simk's side. She's the one who killed your brother? That's her. Sima Ku glared at Sima Yue. If it wasn't for her, my brother wouldn't have died. Since we've met, then leave your life here today. That woman said. You're so angry after hearing that I killed Sima Yi. Could it be that you're his lover? Sima Yue chuckled. Impudent Junior. Matroneo shouted. Sima Yue dug her ears and said, Don't yell and scream, it'll affect your image. You're already old and ugly and now you're shouting like this. If I were Sima Yi, I wouldn't like you either. Shut up. The woman's sore spot was stepped on, and she was about to explode. Third sister, why do you care about her? A few more people walked out of the house. They were all spirit emperors. It's just a dozen or so juniors. What's the point of talking to them? Just kill them. An old man said. That's right, isn't our mission this time to kill the Sima family? They're just a bunch of little people. There's no need for us to work together. Simak, since they're from your previous family, I'll leave it to you to deal with them. All right. Sima Ku nodded and prepared to attack Sima Yue. All of you step back. I will avenge my grandfather. Sima Yue stood up and began to condense spiritual energy in her hands. She completed it before Sima Yue and took the initiative to attack him. Bang. Sima Ku was hit before he was ready and fell down the stairs. Third level spiritual emperor. The people upstairs saw Sima Yue and cried out in surprise. Third level spiritual emperor? How could this be? She doesn't look that old. How could she be a third level spiritual emperor? Sima Yue came to Sima Ku's side and stepped on his chest saying, It's not that I want to criticize you. 5 years ago you went to Dongqing country and you were already a high-level spiritual grandmaster. After so many years you're only a second-level spiritual emperor. If I had your talent I would have killed myself. 2 years ago you were only a second-level spiritual grandmaster. How could you be a spiritual emperor so quickly? Sima Ku spat out blood and shouted. Of course it's because I'm talented. Sima Yue smiled and said, Back then your family framed my great-grandfather and the rest. They had no choice but to escape and bear the injustice for 100 years. Since we're both surnamed Simas, I'll give you a quick death. After speaking, she exerted force with her foot, planning to stomp him to death. Stop. The puppet in the other private room shouted and exerted the pressure of a spiritual elder, wanting to stop her. However, it was useless against her. Ka. Sima Ku spat out a mouthful of blood. His head tilted up and then fell back dead. How dare you? I already told you to stop, but you still killed him. Nailin Hong came out of the room and glared at her. Sima Yue calmly retracted her foot and glanced at Nailin Hong saying, Are you stupid or stupid? You're not related to me. Why should I listen to you? I clearly know that you want to protect him, so why should I stop? Even if you're brainless, you're not. As expected, it was a mistake to let you stay. Nailin Hong said. He looked at Sima Yue, his heart filled with regret. In 2 years she actually rose a level. This kind of talent is rare in the world. If she was in my Nailin family it would be fine. However, she's a member of the Sima family. She even has a grudge against them. This kind of person cannot be left alive. The other spirit paragons had the same thoughts as him. They looked at Sima Yue with murderous eyes. Sima Ku has already attached himself to our Nailin family. You actually killed him in front of us. Today none of you will be leaving. Nailin Hong said. Why are you still talking nonsense with them? Just get rid of them. Don't we have to go back and support Ouyang? Sima Yulu said. Let's end this quickly. Sima Yulin said. A few brats want to kill us? Who said we're going to attack? Are you stupid? Sima Yuyang called out his divine beast after he finished speaking. Seeing that he had called out his divine beast, the others also called out their divine beasts. In a moment, the tea house was filled with divine beasts. The Sima family is really rich. They even have divine beasts. The lady who spoke first said, But you want to fight us with just you. At this time, Little Roar suddenly appeared on the second floor saying, Yu, it's settled. When did you come over? I'm dizzy. Brat, what did you do? Bang bang dash, those spirit saints fell one after another. Little Roar took this time to run back. What did you do to them? Nailin Hong was shocked when he saw them all fall. I didn't do anything. I just tested whether or not my knockout drug could knock them out. Sima Yu said with a smile, It's been proven that this drug is useless on you spirit paragons. However, it's effective on spirit saints. This is great. Now there are only 10 spirit paragons left. It's much easier. Sima Yuyang said with satisfaction. It's just a few divine beasts. How dare you be so arrogant? Who said we only have a few? Sima Yuyang said as he called out another divine beast. A divine beast of 1 rank was equivalent to a spirit master of 2 ranks. Sima Yuyang and the others' beasts were all around the 5th or 6th rank, similar to Nailin Hong and the others. The Nailin clansmen saw that they had called out a few more divine beasts and finally looked at them seriously. Yaguang, Little Rock, Thousand Resonance, come and play. Scarlet Bees, you want to play too? Then all of you come. Sima Yuyu's voice fell and 4 divine beasts appeared beside her, shocking the Nailin clansmen. Chapter 268. The fact that so many divine beasts were contracted to a single person was a huge blow to the Nalan clan's spirit supremacies. Even after they became spirit paragons, they would only have 1 or 2 spirit paragon level spirit beasts, but she alone had several divine beasts. How were they supposed to survive? In particular, the entire younger generation of the Sima family was like this, which was much stronger than the Nalan family. Sima Yue had improved a lot in the past 2 years. When she was promoted from Spirit Grandmaster to Spirit Emperor, Ye Guang and the others had also improved a lot. Sima Yu Yang and the others' contracted beasts were the same. Because of the Imperial Beast art, they followed their masters and rose in rank. Those mythological beasts that were unwilling to be contracted were now thankful that they were captured. Leveling up was like drinking water. How great was that? Alright everyone, let's go together. The earlier we finish this, the earlier we can go and help out. Sima Yue said. A fight had already broken out in the execution ground, and they could hear the sounds of battle from where they were. Whoever kills the most spirit paragons will be rewarded with a bottle of Yu Yu's scarlet honey. Sima Yu Yang shouted at those contracted beasts, causing Sima Yu Yu to roll her eyes. However, she did not refute Sima Yu Yang's words and tacitly agreed. Those spirit beasts already knew that she had the scarlet honey. Seeing that she didn't refute, they knew that she agreed. One by one, as if they had been injected with chicken blood, they flocked towards the Nalan family. The Nalan clan's people hurriedly called out all their contract beasts, but they still couldn't resist the attacks of so many divine beasts. Sima Yue and the rest took the opportunity to go outside. They sat on their flying beasts and occasionally attacked those people. It had to be said that the Nalan family's spirit paragons were very unlucky. They originally wanted to meddle in the affairs of the South Yu Kingdom and develop the Nalan family's influence, but they didn't expect that they would encounter a group of abnormal people like the Sima family. Their spirit beasts were like cabbages, beating them until they didn't have the strength to fight back. Especially those who ambushed them. Every time they would stab them in the back. The battle here also attracted the attention of the other battlefields. Those who didn't know thought that this was only a part of the battle. Those who knew about the Nalan clan were all shocked. That was a group of spiritual paragons. Who were they? Even the Nalan clan's people were being suppressed. Ouyang Dong was protected by a few spirit paragons in the center of the Jade platform. Seeing Ouyang Fei's powerful battle prowess and the Sang clan's people, as well as Sang Luan's connections with the other powers in the capital, Ouyang Dong was about to break through his own ambush. Just as he was about to send out a signal to the Nalan clan's people for help, he suddenly discovered that the Nalan clan's people were fighting with others. A group of divine beasts had surrounded them in the air. Who are those people? He was shocked. They're all wearing masks. It doesn't seem like they're from the Sang clan. The spirit paragon beside Ouyang Dong replied. When Sima Yue left the tea house, she gave each of them a mask. Just now they were in the crowd and the others knew who they were, so they were not eye-catching. Now that they were wearing masks, no one would realize that it was them. In fact, even the people from the Sang clan were surprised. They didn't know who these people were, but they knew that there was a spirit paragon from the Nalan clan on the other side. The people fighting with them were definitely from their side. The people from the Nalan clan were not weak, but they were defeated by Sima Yu Yang and his group of divine beasts. Very quickly the battle with the Nalan clan ended. 10 spirit paragons were killed, and their contracted divine beasts died. After that, Sima Yu Yang brought a few people to deal with the spirit paragons. They sat on their own flying beasts and flew directly to the sky above the execution ground to support Ouyang Fei. Chongming watched from below. When he saw Sima Yue on Little Rock in the middle, he never thought that she would have already strengthened herself to such a degree. The person who had run away in a panic in front of him back then had already grown up. He stood in the execution ground and did not do anything. The attacks that came from the attacks dissipated automatically around him. Rainbow was on his shoulder, jumping and jumping. When she saw all kinds of spirit skills, she cried out excitedly. When Ouyang Fei saw Sima Yue's flashy group, the corner of his mouth twitched. He pointed at Ouyang Dong saying, "Today the two of us will settle this. As for the others who are willing to surrender, we won't kill them." His words caused the chaotic scene to quiet down. Those who were fighting stopped and looked at him. Ouyang Fei glanced at Chongming, and Chongming immediately released the aura of a sacred beast, causing the entire capital to tremble. Transformed divine beast. He's that sacred beast. Didn't he leave the Yilin continent? Why is he still here? Heavens, His Highness actually brought a sacred beast back. They have a sacred beast, what are we still fighting for? That's right, didn't he say just now that those who surrender will not be killed? Let's hurry up and surrender. Right. Once Chongming released his aura, the entire situation became one-sided. Even the spirit paragons could not remain calm. This sacred beast was not something they could fight against. Chongming had said that they had the power now, so he would not act rashly against them. However, he could let them borrow his power. Thinking of borrowing power, he thought of Sima Yue's contracted beast. What would it be like if he came out? Ouyang Fei took 2 steps forward, saying, "Those who surrender now will not be killed." Many of the guards looked at Ouyang Fei, then looked at the 10 spirit paragon-ranked flying beasts in the sky, and threw the weapons in their hands to the ground. Many spirit paragons and spirit paragons surrendered as well. Ouyang Dong's face was pale, and he retreated 2 steps, as if he could not believe that Ouyang Fei had turned the situation around just like that. "You are heartless for the emperor, vicious and merciless. Even the guards of the royal family are not willing to sell their lives for you. Just based on this, you are a failure." Ouyang Fei said, "You are narrow-minded and jealous. That year, when father appointed me as the crown prince, you secretly plotted against me. Haven't you always hated me? Today I'll give you a chance. Come here and we will fight fair and square. The 2 of us will settle our old and new grudges." Ouyang Dong looked at Ouyang Fei, his gaze fierce. After that, he took out his own weapon and attacked Ouyang Fei. Sima Yue sat on Little Rock, watching the battle between Ouyang Fei and Ouyang Dong without any worry. "Yue, how many moves do you think they can take?" Sima Yuyang asked Sima Yue, who was beside her. 10 rounds. Sima Yue said, "If Ouyang Fei is willing to reveal his trump card, then 3 rounds. She had long since seen through Ouyang Dong's rank. Although she was older than Ouyang Fei by a few years, her rank was lower than Ouyang Fei's by a few ranks. Furthermore, her footsteps were weak, and her battle prowess was completely lacking. As expected, just as she said, Ouyang Dong was killed by Ouyang Fei in less than 10 rounds. Not even a scrap of him was left. Ouyang Dong died and his men all surrendered. The battle that had lasted for close to a day finally came to an end. Sima Yue glanced at Ouyang Fei, and directly led the Sima family away. They landed at a place where no one was around, kept their contracted beasts, changed into their outer clothes, took off their masks and returned to the inn where they were staying. Chapter 269. Sima Yue and the others rested in the inn for a while before Bei Gongtang and the others returned. "How is it?" Sima Yue asked as she poured them a cup of tea. Wei Ziqi walked over and sat down, picking up the teacup and downing it in one gulp, saying, "Ouyang went to the palace. Initially he wanted us to go as well, but we weren't used to it so we came back on our own." Sima Yue laid her head on the table and said, "That Ouyang fellow might become the emperor of South Yu in the future." "That's right. When we left, we heard quite a few people talking to him about ascending the throne." Fatty Chu said. "In the future we can do whatever we want in the South Yu kingdom, ha. Sima Yue laughed heartily. They looked at her with disdain and said, "Forget it. Even without him you can still do whatever you want." "Nonsense, I'm so weak, how can I walk sideways?" Sima Yue said, "But I think Ouyang will be very busy these few days and won't have time to take care of us. We have to be careful when we go out. Everyone outside is talking about who the team riding the divine beasts are. Everyone is curious about you." Fatty Chu said. Wei Ziqi also said, "Luckily you all wore masks. Otherwise, based on the current situation, it wouldn't take long for this to reach the ears of the various large clans. I knew this would happen, that's why I had them wear masks." Sima Yue said, "The experts of the Nalan clan have all been killed. This time the Nalan clan is going to vomit blood. Just thinking about it makes me happy." "Haha, now they're going to vomit blood." Fatty Chu smiled as he said, "We originally wanted to stretch our hands into the South Yu kingdom, but we didn't expect to suffer a double loss, losing so many spirit paragons and spirit emperors. This is not a small loss for the Nalan family. It will also affect your meeting this time." Wei Ziqi said. "Yu, when do you plan to attend the gathering?" Bei Gongtang asked. "Don't worry, there are still 2 months before the event. We can leave 1 month earlier." Sima Yue said, "Let's see if Ouyang still needs our help before deciding." "That works too." "Oh yeah, if Ouyang stays, do you guys want to stay too?" Sima Yue asked. The 3 of them did not expect Sima Yue to ask such a question and were stunned. After a while, Wei Ziqi said, "Our goal is to go to the higher realms with you. No matter where we cultivate, it's all the same." Fatty Chu scratched his head and said, "I still want to go with you." After all, he had followed her out in the beginning, and their current achievements were all achieved with her help. He had a certain degree of dependence on her. Only Bei Gong Tang said with certainty, he won't become the emperor of South Yu. I think so too. Wei Ziqi said, Ouyang's ambition does not lie here. Sai, when can we go to the upper realm? Sima Yue said, I wonder how master is doing now. It won't take long. Wei Ziqi said, our current cultivation speed is not slow. I believe that we will be able to go in a few years. Actually, you don't have to worry. Bei Gong Tang said, you have master's soul imprint on you. As long as it's still there, master will be fine. Sima Yue touched her own forehead. In her sea of consciousness, there was still a faint figure sitting next to the soul refining art. After experiencing a huge battle today, everyone did not cultivate tonight. Instead, they gathered in the courtyard of the inn to drink and chat. They went to rest after midnight. A group of young people gathered together and drank without restraint. The next day they all complained of headaches. Sima Yue boiled a large pot of Chinese medicine for them. The bitter taste made the group of people complain incessantly. Ouyang Fei did not appear for 4 to 5 days. He only came to the inn in the evening on the 5th day. Sima Yue just happened to bring in a plate of roasted chicken. Seeing that his clothes did not change, she went up to him and looked at him asking, why aren't you wearing that bright dragon robe? Ouyang Fei stretched out his hand and pushed Sima Yue's head away, saying, I didn't ascend the throne. You didn't ascend the throne? I've been dealing with these things these few days. Ouyang Fei sat in the middle of them and stretched, saying, I'm used to being free. I'm not used to staying in there for a few days. Everyone laughed at him, saying, you grew up in the palace. My heart is wild. I can't go back. Ouyang Fei took out his bowl and chopsticks and started to eat. You didn't ascend the throne. Did your uncles say anything? Sima Yuyang asked. I found a successor for them. Ouyang Fei said, although it took some twists and turns, they still agreed. You couldn't have passed the throne to that little brother of yours who's in his teens, right? Fatty Chu said. He's in his teens now. In a few years he won't be. Ouyang Fei said, being able to survive under Ouyang Dong's oppression means that he's not weak. But he doesn't have the same mother as you. Will the Sang clan agree? Wei Ziqi asked. His imperial mother passed away a long time ago. My imperial mother has always taken good care of him, so I got my imperial mother to adopt him. This way he can ascend the throne and the Sang clan won't say anything. Ouyang Fei said, it's just that I might have to stay in South Yu for a while. You've left South Yu for so many years. You should spend some time with your mother. Sima Yu said. Ouyang Fei had the same thoughts. He had left for so many years. Now that he saw his mother, he wanted to spend more time with her. However, even if I'm not with you for the time being, I will still cultivate. When the time comes for you to head to the upper realms, I will go with you. Okay. Ouyang Fei went back after eating dinner. Sima Yu even wondered if this guy had guessed that they were eating and came back to scrounge for food. After that, Ouyang Fei disappeared for a few days. When he appeared again, he invited them to attend his little brother's ascension ceremony. Sima Yu and the others guessed that they had never attended such an event before, so they agreed. Others didn't know, but the Sang clan knew that Sima Yu and the others had played an important role in this event. They were very grateful to them and treated them as guests of the royal family. They expressed their gratitude to them again and again. During the ascension ceremony, Sima Yu saw Ouyang Fei's little brother. Apart from Ouyang Fei, he was the only child who had survived the battle of the royal family. He was 16 or 17 years old. He was about the same age as when she met Ouyang Fei. Although his cheeks were still young, his gaze was mature and wise. One look and you could tell that he was a capable person. The entire process was tedious and complicated. Sima Yu and the others went back after the ceremony and didn't stay for the banquet. Things here were more or less settled. Sima Yulin found her and told her that they could go to the venue of the banquet, Saint City. Sima Yu didn't understand why it was called Saint City at first. Later on, she found out that it was a place ruled by the Sage Pavilion. Thinking of the Sage Pavilion, Sima Yu couldn't help but think of the man who had stolen her first kiss. Chapter 270. Somewhere on the peak of a mountain, a purple-clothed man sat on a chair, looking at the ring in his hand in boredom. Fire Qilin sat on the chaise lounge and looked up at him, saying, You're not thinking about that person again, are you? That's right, why not? Wu Lingyu turned the ring in his hand. This ring was similar to the illusion ring he had given Sima Yu. It was a pair with the one he had given her. I can't figure it out. The Fire Qilin shook its head. The Saintess came back especially for you, but you always avoid meeting her. It's been a few years, and the number of times you've seen her in private can be counted on one hand. But I can't even count the number of times you've looked at this ring. You can't figure it out? Wu Lingyu smiled and said, actually I can't figure it out either. Sigh, she's clearly just a little girl. Why do I keep thinking about her? If your eyes aren't damaged, then you're blind. The Fire Qilin said disdainfully, why did I follow such a blind master? So embarrassing. Wu Lingyu did not refute. Not only did the Fire Qilin look down on his taste, he also did not understand. They had not seen each other for so many years, but her appearance had never faded. Recently he would always think of her. How was she now? Did she think about what level her strength was at? Did she think about whether there were other men around her? Thinking of the last question, Wu Lingyu felt a little restless. What if that girl had forgotten about him after so many years? He would not allow such a situation to occur. Recently, the Hall Master has been in seclusion. Why don't I go and inspect the situation of the Sage Pavilion in the Yilin continent on his behalf? Wu Lingyu did as he said. After finding an excuse for himself, he immediately got up and walked outside. When the Fire Qilin saw this guy in a hurry, it looked at him with disdain and helplessly followed him. Wu Lingyu came out of the pavilion and coincidentally bumped into the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion. Seeing her, Wu Lingyu immediately pretended to be very weak. Lingyu, where are you going? Wu Lingyu looked as if she had just noticed her. There was a hint of surprise on her face as she smiled and said, oh, it's Wei Wei. I'm not feeling well, so I want to go back and have a look at my master. Are you feeling unwell again? How about I take you there? Bai Weiwei looked at him worriedly. There's no need. With Qilin with me, I won't trouble you. The hall master is in closed-door cultivation and I have to go back. I'll need you to stay here and look after the Sage Pavilion. Wu Lingyu declined politely. But can you go back like this? Bai Weiwei wanted to go up and support him, but he took 2 steps back to avoid her. With Qilin here, nothing will happen. Wu Lingyu took the opportunity to lean on Qilin. Although Fire Qilin despised him, he was still very cooperative. He supported him and said to Bai Weiwei, Holy Maiden, you don't have to worry about him, I will bring him back. Bai Weiwei put down her hand and said, okay, you have to protect him. I will. The Fire Qilin transformed into its original form and let Wu Lingyu sit on it. Weiwei, about the Sage Pavilion? Leave it to me, I will take care of it. Bai Weiwei said. Alright, then I'll leave in peace. Qilin, let's go. Wu Lingyu finished speaking and patted Fire Qilin's back. Fire Qilin carried him and soared into the sky, leaving the palace. It wasn't until they were far away from the palace that Wu Lingyu returned to his original form. He laid on Qilin's back and put his hands behind his head, very comfortable. Aren't you going to the Yilin continent? Why should I run? Fire Qilin stopped and didn't leave. I'm going, but before I go, I have to see Master. He said before that he wanted to go to the Yilin continent, so I'll take him there. Wu Lingyu said. What's so good about that place? Fire Qilin said, is your master looking for someone? No, he's looking for a kind of medicinal herb. He said it can only be found in the Yilin continent. Wu Lingyu said. Don't you know? Why don't you take him? Fire Qilin didn't understand. Who knows what that old man is thinking? Wu Lingyu said, that old man is so strange, maybe he just wants to go for a walk. Well, you master and disciple are all jackals of the same tribe. Fire Qilin sped up and quickly left the Sage Pavilion far behind. They came to an uninhabited valley. Wu Lingyu took out a one-way transfer array and threw it on the ground after activating it. When the transfer array lit up, they walked in and quickly disappeared. Not long after they disappeared, Bai Weiwei rode a snow-white spirit beast and followed. Master, their aura disappeared here. The spirit beast landed in the valley and said. Bai Weiwei came down from the spirit beast and saw the transfer array stone on the ground. She said, this is the transfer array stone that Lingyu used to go back. Unfortunately, the array on it disappeared after one use, so it can't determine the location of the Immortal Devil Valley. Master. The spirit beast saw that she was somewhat disappointed and wanted to comfort her. It doesn't matter, at least it proves that he really went back and didn't go outside to find another woman. Bai Weiwei said with a smile, Lingyu can only be mine, who dares to fight with me? She didn't finish her sentence, but the transfer array stone in her hand turned into fine powder. She let go of her hand and the powder fell to the ground. Let's go back. She sat on the back of the spirit beast and left the valley. On the other side, Wu Lingyu appeared in a quiet valley. He didn't know which mountain he was in. Suddenly, his body moved and then he smiled coldly. What's wrong? Fire Qilin asked. Someone moved my transfer array stone. Wu Lingyu said. Who would touch a stone? Fire Qilin knew that he would inject a bit of his divine sense into the transfer array stone. Hearing him say this, someone must have moved. Bai Weiwei. Wu Lingyu said, "It wasn't easy to change the holy maiden. I thought she would be better, but I didn't expect it to be the same." Although the previous one was a bit annoying, she was still sincere. "This one looks fake." Fire Qilin criticized without any trace of politeness. "Yes, Yu is the most real, not fake at all," Wu Lingyu said. Fire Qilin gave him a supercilious look. Everything was good for her, really hopeless. Wu Lingyu came to a ginkgo tree and threw a few array stones in. The entire valley changed as if it was a different place. He walked in, then waved his hand. Those array stones flew back to his hand, and the valley returned to its former appearance. "Oh man, I'm back." He came to a thatched hut and shouted inside. An old but crisp voice came from inside the hut. "I know you're back, brat. Come here, I just happened to research something that can nourish your soul." Wu Lingyu was speechless. Every time he came back it was like this. After so many years, this old man still didn't give up. He didn't go in but stood at the door and said, "Old man, I'm going to the Yilin continent. Didn't you say you wanted to go together? Let's go." A lean old man came out of the house, grabbed his hand and dragged him into the house, saying, "Wait until you soak in this before you go. I spent a lot of effort, don't waste it." Dong, a certain person was thrown into a pool with his clothes, and began who knew how many hundreds of medicinal baths. Chapter 271. When Sima Yue and the rest left South Yu Kingdom, Ouyang Fei went to send them off but did not go with them. In the near future, when the grand tournament was held, he would go with the South Yu Kingdom's people as a guest to watch their competition. The holy city was located in the middle of the four countries, but it did not belong to any country. It was a free place. However, no one dared to behave atrociously in this place without a city lord. This was because no one dared to offend any of the forces in this place. The Sage Pavilion had a supreme position in the hearts of the commoners. Even if they didn't believe in the Sage Pavilion, they wouldn't dare to say anything bad about the Sage Pavilion. When Sima Yue was listening to other people's introductions, she faintly felt that the Sage Pavilion's position was higher than all the other powers in the continent. It was above all the other powers and countries. Other than the Sage Pavilion, there were also the Alchemist Guild, Weapon Masters Guild, Beast Tamer Guild and other guilds. They were the highest level of organization in each guild. If one could join this place, the status of a member would be even higher than that of the president of other places. Therefore, this place was not under anyone's control, but no country dared to invade and monopolize it. Sima Yue and the rest used the transportation array to arrive at the border city of the South Yu Kingdom. Because she was sick from the transportation array, everyone decided to rest for a day and take the flying beast to the sacred city tomorrow. Although the sacred city had a relatively high status, there were no teleportation portals from the outside world to enter. After reaching the borders of various countries, they could only use flying beasts to enter. Sima Yue and the rest arrived at an inn. As the event was about to begin, there was a shortage of rooms in the inn. They had no choice but to share a room in pairs. They booked the last 10 rooms. "Everyone, this is your room number and key." The waiter handed the key to Sima Yuyang. "Let's go. We'll bring you up to rest first," Sima Yuyang said with a smile. Every time he saw her faint from the teleportation array, he was so happy. Cough cough, this is not good, not good. Sima Yue could tell that the guy was gloating. She glared at him, took the key to a room and left. "I'll go with you." Sima Yuran followed Sima Yu. Her brothers all knew that she was a woman, and they didn't want their sister to stay with other men. Sima Yuyang distributed the remaining keys to the others, and everyone chose their own people to stay with. At this moment, 2 women walked in. One was dressed in a white dress, while the other was dressed in an enchanting red dress. Both of them were extremely beautiful. "Waiter, give us 2 rooms." The woman in red said to the waiter. I'm sorry, but all the rooms in the store are already full." The waiter said apologetically. "Full?" The woman in the red dress frowned. Yes, the last 10 rooms were occupied by them. The waiter pointed at Sima Yuyang and the others who had yet to go upstairs. "Why don't you go to the other inns to take a look? We've already visited all the inns here and none of them have a room. This is the last one." The red-dressed lady said, "Think of a way to get us 2 rooms." "Oh dear guest, I'm really sorry. We really don't have any rooms now." The waiter said awkwardly, "Why don't you ask them if they can give you a room?" "What? You want us to go and get it? Do you know who we are?" "We are Red Cloud." The woman in white called out softly, interrupting the woman in red's words. Senior sister. Red Cloud reacted after being called out by the woman in white. She remembered that she had promised her master that she would not use her status to pressure others. The woman in white came to the front of the Sima family and smiled, saying, "Everyone, you've seen the situation just now. Can you give us a room? We'll just stay for one night and return the room to you tomorrow." Sima Yu was still on the stairs. When she heard the commotion, she didn't go up. At this moment, when she heard what the lady in white said, she said, "Yu Yang, since they're all outside, why don't you get everyone to move out a room for them?" Sima Yu Yang was a little surprised. He did not think that Sima Yu would say something like this. However, he still nodded, saying, "We're only staying for one night. You guys can squeeze together and give us a room." The person who was called out handed the key in his hand to the woman in white. The woman in white smiled at him, then raised her head to look at Sima Yu, saying, "Thank you." Sima Yu nodded at her, then turned around and went up the stairs. After a while, Sima Yu Yang, Sima Yu Lin and the others came to see her. As they chatted, they asked her why she gave the room to the two women. Sima Yu lay on the bed saying, "Those two women are alchemists." "Alchemists?" Sima Yu nodded, saying, "Also, the rank of the woman in white is not low. I can smell the faint scent of medicine on them. It's something that can only be found in places filled with medicine for a long time. You can smell it even though you're standing so far away. Do you have a dog's nose?" Sima Yu Yang laughed. Sima Yu rolled her eyes at him and continued, "When the one called Red Cloud wanted to reveal her identity, she was scolded by the lady in the white dress. I feel that the two of them should be people of status. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Giving a room might be good karma." Sima Yu Yang pursed his lips, saying, "I think you just can't bear to do it because they're beautiful. Beautiful women are good. Beautiful women are easy on the eyes. They're much better than someone like you who's made of mud." Sima Yu said, "How am I made of mud?" There was once an ancient saying, "Women are made of water, men are made of mud. If you're not made of mud, then what are you?" There's such a saying? Sima Yu Yang was stunned. Of course there is. Then aren't you made of mud too? I'm not going to talk to you about this. Sima Yu said, "Yulin, do we have a place to stay in Saint City? We won't be like them and have nowhere to stay, right?" "Don't worry about that. We have our own house in Saint City." Sima Yulin said. "That's good." Sima Yu said, then began to chase them away. "I want to rest. You can all go back." Okay. Once they had all left, Sima Yu sat beside the bed and looked at Sima Yu's little face, saying, "Fifth bro, when will you be able to regain your identity? It's not a good idea to dress up as a man all the time. I don't know why my father told my grandfather to dress up as a man. However, since he told me to, it must be important. Maybe it has something to do with my family. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to after I find my father." Sima Yu said. "That'll still take a few years." Sima Yu sighed, saying, "Some girls are already mothers when they're your age." Cough cough. "Third bro, why are you talking about this? You're talking about the average citizen. 20-something is still very young for a spirit master. Don't make me sound like an old lady." Sima Yu quickly interrupted him. This topic was not suitable for her. Chapter 272. The next morning, Sima Yue and the rest were preparing to leave. When they were checking out, they bumped into the two women from yesterday. The woman in the white dress smiled at them, but Hong Xia's attitude was much more arrogant. "Thank you for giving us a room yesterday, allowing us to avoid sleeping on the streets," Jade said with a smile. "You're welcome. Besides, you already thanked me yesterday," Sima Yue replied. Sima Yu Yang checked out and walked over, saying, "Let's go. Otherwise, we won't be able to make it to Dragon Reflection Mountain by tonight." When Jade heard Dragon Reflection Mountain, she asked, "Are you guys going to Holy City as well?" "Yes." "Are you guys the same?" Sima Yu Yang asked. "That's right. Since we're all going to the Holy City, why don't we go together? You wouldn't mind the two of us, right?" Jade said with a smile. "Senior sister." Hong Xia frowned in disapproval. "It's fine." Jade said to Red Cloud, "It's on the way back anyway." "Are you from Saint City?" Sima Yu asked. "That's right. I came out on my master's orders and was just about to head back." Jade said. "That's great. We've never been to Saint City before and we're just looking for someone to lead the way." Sima Yu Yang said with a smile, "It's a blessing to have two beauties to accompany me." Although Red Cloud was very dissatisfied, she seemed to listen to Jade, so she could only follow them. After leaving the small city, they would head north. Flying beasts would take them 2 days to reach the Holy City. In the middle was a boundless mountain range. There was only a small town on Dragon Reflection Mountain that was used as a place for cultivators to rest. They needed to get to the town before nightfall. Fatty Chu was not familiar with this place and asked suspiciously, "Can't we stay in the mountains? Why do we have to go to the small town of Dragon Reflection Mountain?" "You've never heard of the 10,000 Beast Mountain Range before?" Jade asked in astonishment. Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head and said, "Never heard of it. What a country bumpkin, you don't even know this." Red Cloud looked at Fatty Chu with disdain. Jade didn't look down on them and said, "The holy city is in the 10,000 Beast Mountain Range. This 10,000 Beast Mountain Range is different from other mountain ranges. At night, you will sometimes encounter spirit beasts, which is especially dangerous. It's even worse if we encounter a beast tide." It was Sima Yuyue's first time hearing about it as well. She mumbled, "Could it be that the 10,000 Beast Mountain uses American time and the time is reversed compared to other mountain ranges?" "What did you say?" Jade didn't hear clearly and asked. "Cough cough, it's nothing." Sima Yuyue asked, "That small town on Dragon Reflection Mountain should have a formation or barrier protecting it, right?" "Yes." Jade said, "In order to serve as a place to stay, the people of the Holy City built a small town on the relatively safe Dragon Reflection Mountain. They even invited an array master from the upper realm to set up a protective array. Since it's so dangerous, why not set up a teleportation array?" Wei Ziqi asked. "There used to be, but the space there became unstable, so the teleportation array could no longer be used." Jade explained. "Then let's change locations," Fatty Chu said. Jade smiled and shook her head, saying, "The holy city has been in that place for over 10,000 years. Naturally, there's a reason for that. You can't migrate just because you want to. Since the 10,000 Beast Mountain is so dangerous, aren't the two of you worried when you come out?" Sima Yuyang asked. "Dragon Reflection Mountain isn't too dangerous from here. Furthermore, there will be people waiting for us at Dragon Reflection Mountain," Jade said. "Now that we're out of the city, let's use our flying beasts. Hey, our flying beasts are very fast. Don't lose track of them later," Red Cloud said. "You don't have to worry," Sima Yuyang said. "Yuyu, why don't you let Little Rock out? He's the fastest." "Okay." Sima Yuyue nodded. She called out Little Rock and got him to transform into his original form. Four-winged rock. Jade was slightly shocked. This was the king of flying beasts. She never thought that they would have this kind of spirit beast. Red Cloud's expression was ugly. She had just taunted them not to lose track of them, but now the other party had taken out an even faster flying beast. This was a slap to her face. Jade was experienced and knowledgeable, so she quickly recovered and said, "Our flying beasts are not as fast as yours. Why don't we go with you?" Sima Yue looked at her calmly without a trace of embarrassment. She nodded her head in agreement. Once everyone was on, Little Rock spread his wings and took off. They quickly left the city behind. The Sima family is worthy of being a first-rate power. They have a strong foundation. Jade sighed as she felt Little Rock's speed. Because Little Rock was very fast, they reached Dragon Reflection Mountain before evening even though they were supposed to reach it. "This is a small town?" Sima Yue looked at Dragon Reflection Town, which was just a bunch of houses gathered together, and blinked her eyes. "This place is small, but it has all the essentials. The equipment inside is still very good." Jade came down from Little Roar and looked at them, saying, "We don't lack inns or shops. It's just a little expensive. Let's go in and take a look." Sima Yue jumped down as well, saying. Little Rock transformed into a little bird and flew onto her shoulder. They walked into the small town and thought that it would be cold and cheerless. They didn't expect that it would be bustling with activity. It was full of mercenaries and people who were training. There were also many people like them who were preparing to participate in the gathering. It's hard to imagine that this place can hold so many people. Wei Ziqi sighed. "That's right. It's really an eye-opener." It was Sima Yuqing and the others' first time here and were very curious about this place. Jade brought them to an inn in the middle of the street, saying, "This is the biggest inn here. My seniors said that they would pick us up here." Sima Yue and the others entered and felt many gazes. Two of them were not very friendly. "Junior sister." A tall man saw them and walked over, asking, "Why did you only arrive today? We waited for you for half a month and thought that something had happened to you. We were worried to death." Jade did not like this person very much. She kept her smile and her expression was indifferent. Her voice was also cold. "Senior Brother Li, why are you here?" "Something happened at the Sage Pavilion and called Senior Brother Han over. Master was worried about your safety and asked me to bring people to pick you up." Li Mu explained. Jade replied. Although she did not like this Li Mu, things had already come to this point and she could not say anything more. These people are? Li Mu did not forget that Jade had been chatting and laughing with them when she entered. A cold light flashed in his eyes. They are friends that we met on the way here, Jade said. After that, she instructed the waiter, Waiter, prepare a few rooms for them. I'm really sorry, young Miss Jade. The rooms here have already been reserved by your seniors. There are no more rooms available now. The waiter replied. Since senior brother has reserved it, then let them stay, Jade said. Junior sister, I'm sorry. This room has been prepared for the Nalan clan. Chapter 273. Nalan clan? Jade frowned and said, the Nalan clan isn't here either. Since we're keeping it, let's give it to the Sima family first. No. Li Mu said, the Nalan clan has already arrived and will be here today. Can't you give us some rooms? Jade was a little angry. Junior sister, I've already spoken with the Nalan clan. It'll be hard to explain to them when the time comes. Li Mu said. Fine, I'll give this place to you. I'll take them somewhere else. Jade said angrily. Junior sister, you only met them on the road. Why bother with them? Li Mu said unhappily. They helped me before and I said that I would take them to Sacred City. How can I abandon them halfway? Since you said that you'll wait here for the Nalan clan, then I'll go with them. Jade said and left. Senior sister. Junior sister. Young miss. Senior brother, senior sister, she. What should we do now? Red Cloud looked at Li Mu. Li Mu sneered and said, all the inns in this town are full. Junior sister will go in vain. When there's no place left, she'll naturally come back. Then those people. Red Cloud said worriedly. Don't worry about them. It's best if they're dead. Li Mu said and went back to the table. Jade only remembered Sima Yue and the others when she reached the street. She turned and said to them, I'm really sorry about just now. Senior brotherly has always been like this. I'll take you to the other inns. Since she said so, they couldn't say anything else and followed her. Is that senior brother of yours very powerful? Fatty Chu asked. His talent is good, so my father likes him very much. Jade said, but I don't like him. I can't stand his arrogance. Aren't you a young miss? That was what the waiter called her. Even if I am a young miss, my talent isn't as good as his. In other people's eyes, he's more important than me. Jade said, all right, let's not talk about him. Let's go look at the other inns. Unfortunately, they walked the entire street and didn't come across a single inn with empty rooms. It was getting late. Sima Yue said, since there's no place, why don't we find a place to camp in the mountains? No, it's very dangerous outside. Even if my father and the others were here, they wouldn't dare to casually set up camp outside. Jade immediately denied. No problem, it's just one night anyway. Sima Yuyang said. I'd rather set up camp outside than spend a night on the streets. Sima Yuqing said. Miss Yen, you don't dare to live outside now. The innkeeper said, it's even more dangerous outside now. What happened? The reason why so many people have come to the town recently is because the mountains outside are not peaceful. Everyone has come to seek refuge. If you go out now, wouldn't it be even more dangerous? The shopkeeper said. Not even one night? Sima Yuqing said. The shopkeeper waved his hand and said, according to the mercenaries who returned, something seemed to have happened in the direction of the holy city. A large number of spirit beasts are heading this way. If you don't want anything to happen, it's best to wait here for things to pass. Alright, how could I have forgotten about this? Jade frowned. What's wrong? Sima Yue asked. Jade sighed saying, 10,000 Beast Mountain has this kind of situation once every few years. The spirit beasts in the entire mountain range are very violent. Every time, even the holy city has to activate the city protection array. It takes about a month. Looks like we'll have to stay here for a few days. That's right, that's it. It's already been going on for half a month. There's about half a month left. Why don't you stay in this hall for half a month? The shopkeeper said, everything is first come first served. It's not good for us to ask others to let you in. If it was just 1 or 2 rooms, it would be fine. But there are so many of you, it's really not easy. No problem. Shopkeeper, tell us where there is a spacious place. Sima Yue said. Do you really want to go outside? The shopkeeper saw how stubborn Sima Yue and the others were inside, saying, there's a lake not too far away from here. The terrain there is not bad and it's close to here. If anything happens, you'll be able to run back if you have time. Sima Yuyang was suspicious and asked, The Holy City has already activated the city protection array. Why haven't you activated it yet? Because those spirit beasts will mainly attack the Holy City. That's why we have to activate the city protection array. However, the effect is smaller here. That's why we usually activate the normal array. We can only activate the big array when there's a situation. Jade explained. That's right. The shopkeeper continued, saying, this small array does not affect people from entering and leaving. However, once the big one is activated, the small town will be isolated from the outside world. No one can enter or leave. Sima Yue sighed, saying, looks like we came at the wrong time. Jade was a little annoyed and said apologetically, I'm sorry. Because I found what I wanted, I was so happy that I forgot about such an important thing. If I had reminded you earlier, you wouldn't have had to come here. Why don't you stay here for a night and go back to the little city tomorrow? No problem. Since we're here, we naturally have to admire the beautiful scenery. Sima Yue said, I'll bring everyone to gain experience. And then we don't want to go back either. Sima Yulu said. Since that's the case, I'll go with you. Jade said. You'll go with us? What? Sima Yuqing asked, puzzled. It wasn't just her. The Sima family was surprised as well. If it weren't for my carelessness in reminding you earlier, you wouldn't have come here. Jade said, furthermore, the last room was reserved by Senior Brother Li. I know him well. If I go with you, he might ask them to activate the array later. Young Miss Jade, actually, you don't have to. Sima Yue said. I've already decided. I'll go with you. Jade said confidently. Then, all right. Sima Yue agreed. She wanted to understand the situation before going to Saint City. Young Mississippi, a male walked in saying, Senior Brother Li said to invite you back. Jade glanced at that person saying, go back and tell Senior Brother Li that I'll be camping outside with my friends. After speaking, she ignored that person and followed Sima Yue and the others out of the little town. When Li Mu received the news, they had already reached the little lake. He rushed over angrily but was coldly sent back by Jade. Seeing Sima Yue chatting happily with Jade as they set up the tent, his heart was filled with endless jealousy and hatred. Senior Brother Li, the Nalan clan is here. A little brother walked over and whispered in Li Mu's ear. I got it. Li Mu glanced at them again before leaving with his men. This brat, he would make him pay. Chapter 274. Sima Yue watched as Li Mu left. Her eyes flickered, but she did not say anything. Latest chapter reading. By the time they finished setting up the tent, it was already dark. Sima Yue walked around the tent a few times and threw a few small stones into it from time to time. Then she returned to the fire and threw a red stone into it. She then injected some Reiki into it. Suddenly, white light flowed and outlined a circle and a 5-pointed star on the ground. Defensive array. Jade watched as the light flickered and seeped into the ground. She cried out in surprise as she looked at Sima Yue and asked, You're an array master? Sima Yue did not deny it. After confirming that there was no problem with the array, she said, It's fine now. Sima Yulin looked at the array she had set up and sighed in his heart. This guy's array skills had improved quite a bit in the past 2 years. He was also a formation master, so he had a good understanding of formations. He could tell the strength of a formation just by looking at the light it emitted when it was set up. Although Jade wasn't an array master, she also understood this principle. When she saw the blinding light just now, she knew that her array formation was very strong. I didn't expect you to be an array master as well. Jade saw that Sima Yue was rather low-key and didn't have the arrogance of an array master. Sima Yue smiled. Yue, there should be fish in this lake. Why don't we get some to grill? Fatty Chu said. Sure. There's nothing to do here anyway. Sima Yue said. Thus, the group gathered around the lake and began to fish. They laughed and cursed each other without the slightest bit of fear. Jade was speechless when she saw this. Lulu, come, let's fish together. Sima Yuqing came over to pull her. She was stunned for a moment before she went over as well. Let me tell you, Yu, Fatty and the others make really delicious food. I've eaten the grilled fish they made once, and the taste was so good that I wanted to swallow all the fish bones. Sima Yuqing said as she handed Jade a fishing rod. Ever since they got together with Sima Yue, they were used to carrying all kinds of tools with them. You guys usually eat these things? Jade asked in surprise. Eat? Why don't you eat? Sima Yulan came over and said, like what Fatty said, cultivating on a daily basis is boring enough. If we don't make some good food to reward ourselves, we'll be letting down life. Don't you usually eat these? Jade shook her head. Normally we only eat some spirit fruits and the like. I rarely eat these. Then you've really missed out on one of life's greatest pleasures. Sima Yulan said, in the past we didn't like to eat it that much. We were all infected by that group of guys. As she spoke, she raised her chin towards Sima Yue and Fatty Chu. She's really a wonder. When he saw Sima Yue happily fishing with everyone, he thought about how she could set up such a powerful array at such a young age. And not only is he a strange person, he's also infuriating. Sima Yuqing said. Infuriating? Jade looked at her in confusion. Sima Yulan smiled and agreed, saying, that's right. This guy was born to beat others down. Don't compare yourself to him. Comparing yourself to others will only lead to death. You'll be angered to death when you see him. Is he very powerful? Jade asked. Towards him you can't use the eyes of a normal person. Sima Yuqing said, just treat him like a monster. Jade looked curiously at Sima Yue. How perverted was she to be called a monster by her own family members? Aya, he's hooked, he's hooked. At this time, Fatty Chu shouted and a group of people went to help him pull the fishing rod. Aya, mine's hooked too. It's a big fish. Sima Yulu shouted at the same time. Fourth bro, let me help you. Aya, mine's hooked too. Quickly get someone to help me get the fishing net. Just you wait, the fishing net has been taken away by them. Why use the fishing net, just pull it up. Aya, mine's hooked and ran away again. Sima Yuqing ran over as well, saying, how did you catch it? Why didn't we? Jade saw that they were playing so crazily. They had no respect for their elders and had no sense of direction. She was extremely envious. In their guild there had never been such a scene. When everyone was together they competed with each other. There were very few people who treated each other sincerely. Later on, when they caught more fish, a group of people came to deal with the fish before handing it over to Sima Yue and Fatty Chu to roast. When it was very late, everyone was finally full. Even Jade, who usually didn't eat much, ate an entire fish. Oh, I'm so full. I'm sleepy after eating. Everyone go to sleep. Sima Yuyang called out to everyone. As a result, everyone got up and returned to their own tents. Jade asked, aren't we going to leave anyone to keep watch? No need. Yuyu has already scattered the medicinal powder and activated the array. If anyone is blind enough to cause trouble for us, they will be knocked down before we even get here. Sima Yuqing said. Jade thought about the array that Sima Yue had set up. Thinking about it, that kind of array could only protect a small lake. It was naturally not a problem. As a result, she returned to her own tent to rest. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yue, who was sitting on the bed cultivating, opened her eyes. After thinking for a while, she got off the bed and went out. Why did you come out so early? Seeing the person standing by the lake, she walked over and asked. Didn't you come out early as well? Jade said when she saw Sima Yue. I only woke up because I heard someone wake up. Sima Yue said, could it be that everyone in Saint City wakes up so early? Jade shook her head and didn't say anything. I see that you're worried. Who are you worried about? Sima Yue asked. Jade didn't think that Sima Yue would be so sensitive. She nodded, saying, I'm worried about my parents. In the past, we were always together when something like this happened. Now that we're not together, I'm worried that something might have happened to them. Didn't you say that Saint City always activates the protective array? Since that's the case, what's there to worry about? Sima Yue said, if you're talking about worry, it should be your parents who are worried about you outside. That's true. Jade said, I'm just afraid that they'll come out to look for me and my brothers when they see that we haven't returned. You're not a child anymore. You know that 10,000 Beast Mountain isn't safe and that Saint City is closed. Why would you still go there? Sima Yue said, your parents will think the same way. Mem, I hope so. Jade said. Right, I heard that your senior brother said that something happened at the Sage Pavilion and asked your senior brother Han to go over. Do you know what's going on? Sima Yue asked. Jade shook her head, saying, I've left Saint City for almost half a year. I'm not very clear about the Sage Pavilion. Are you very interested in it? I'm rather familiar with the Holy Maiden. If you want to know anything, I can go back and ask for you. No need, no need. Sima Yue hurriedly waved her hand. I've never come into contact with the Sage Pavilion before, so I'm a little curious. Of course, she completely ignored the evil Wu Lingyu who looked pure on the outside. And the person she had ignored was currently in Saint City thinking of her. He wanted to quickly get rid of the people here so that he could find her. Chapter 275. After a while, everyone got up one after another. They greeted Sima Yue with a smile and went back to their own business. Fifth bro, Sima Yulu walked over saying, "What are we doing today?" Sima Yue shrugged and said, "The sacred city is closed and we can't move forward. I don't have any plans either. Big brother and I want to go to the mountains for a walk. Are you going?" Sima Yulu asked. "Sure, I have nothing to do anyway," Sima Yue said. "You're going out?" Jade said, "Although this place is a bit far from the center, there are still quite a few wild spirit beasts. No problem, it'll be fine as long as a few more of us go out." Sima Yulu said. Elder sister, I'll go with you." Rainbow flew over and landed on her shoulder. "Sure." Sima Yue patted Rainbow's little head, then looked at Chongming, which was not far away, and asked, "Your wife is going with us, are you going?" "There's something here that makes the spirit beasts uneasy. It's best if you don't go out," Chongming said. "You felt it too?" Sima Yue asked. Chongming nodded. After arriving here, he felt an aura that made him a little impatient. If it wasn't for his higher strength, he would have become manic by now. Sima Yue rubbed her chin. After coming to Dragon Reflection Mountain, Little Roar had told her that he felt an uneasy aura, but when she asked Yaguang and Thousand Resonance, they said that they did not feel anything. However, she still did not doubt Little Roar's words because he was an auspicious beast and was much more sensitive to ordinary auras. Now that she heard Chongming say this, she was even more certain of her own thoughts. There must be a reason why the 10,000 Beast Mountain would appear once every few years. Don't tell me there are ferocious beasts here. She shuddered as she recalled the scene she saw on Forgotten Worry Island more than a year ago. What's wrong? Sima Yulu noticed that something was wrong with her and asked. It's nothing. Go call Big Brother and the others. Sima Yulu said with a smile. Even if her guess was right, it had nothing to do with them. Otherwise, this continent might have been destroyed long ago. After thinking this through, she no longer hesitated and said to Chongming, "If you don't go out, we'll leave. Take good care of Rainbow." Chongming turned around and returned to his tent. A sacred beast also lived in a tent. To him this was the first time. Sima Yuming and the others walked over saying, "Fifth brother, let's go." "Miss Yen, are you going?" Sima Yulu asked. Yen Lu shook her head and said, "I told Yu Qing and the others last night that I would bring them to the town for a stroll today." "Alright, take care." Sima Yu nodded and left the campsite with Sima Yuming and the others. The mountains of the 10,000 Beast Mountain were generally quite tall. They arrived at the peak of Dragon Reflection Mountain and looked down at the small town below. They realized that this small town was quite big. She looked at the surrounding scenery and suddenly said in confusion, "Fifth bro, what's up?" Sima Yuran asked. "Look, don't the small town and the small lake look like the two extremes of the 8 trigrams?" Sima Yu pointed at the small town and the small lake. Although the small lake and the small town were not far from each other, after passing through a canyon, it looked like it was separated by Dragon Reflection Mountain and became 2 yin-yang eyes. 8 trigrams? What's that? Sima Yu asked. Sima Yu was speechless. She remembered that there was no such thing as Taoism here. These people naturally did not know about the 8 trigrams. Nothing much, it's just a type of array. She smiled dejectedly. They walked through a few mountains but did not find anything special. They did not even meet any violent spirit beasts. The few of them gave up on the idea of finding spirit beasts to practice their skills. As such, they decided to return to the campsite. Sima Yu was a little dejected and said that she wanted to walk around alone. As such, the others returned while she flew around the mountains alone. Finally, she came to a cliff and looked at the scenery in the distance. She said sadly, "Oh Earth, I don't know if I'll be able to go back in this lifetime. Sai, why do I suddenly miss my past life?" She stayed on the cliff for a while. Just as she was about to leave, she suddenly smelled a fragrance. 100 leaves flower. She stood up and asked carefully. She said with surprise, "It's really the 100 leaves flower. This fragrance should mean that it has already bloomed. I didn't think that my luck would be so good. I actually bumped into the 100 leaves flower." The fragrance came from the bottom of the cliff. She bent down to take a look before flying down. "Oh ho ho, the flower has finally bloomed. Beautiful flower, let me pluck you quickly." Sima Yu came down and saw a skinny old man squatting at the bottom of the cliff. His laughter was rather wretched. She saw that he had dug up the entire 100 leaves flower and placed it carefully into a sandalwood box. She knew that he was someone who knew how to cherish herbs. She initially thought that she could get a bargain, but she did not expect that someone would beat her to it. She did not plan to rob him and turn to leave. "You little brat are really strange. Since you were attracted by the fragrance, why did you leave without saying anything?" After the little old man kept the 100 leaves flower, he turned around and looked at Sima Yu. Sima Yu did not think that he would talk to her. She stopped and said, "Didn't you already get it? Why should I stay? To watch you pick herbs? You can rob me." The little old man's hair was white. His 2 eyes were bright and full of expression. He looked rather energetic. Sima Yu was stunned when she heard his words. There was actually someone who asked others to rob him? She shook her head and said, "Even though this 100 leaves flower is rare, it is not enough to move me. It's okay if I can beat you. If I can't, wouldn't I be looking for trouble?" "You're really smart." The little old man said, "Are you also an alchemist?" "I know a little." Sima Yu realized that she could not see through the other party's strength and was a little surprised. But thinking about it, if he dared to travel alone in 10,000 Beast Mountain at this time, how could he be an ordinary person? The little old man thought that he would be robbed like before. He did not expect to meet a silly kid. "You're really not going to rob me?" the little old man asked again. Sima Yu shook her head and asked, "Do you have anything that is even more tempting on you? If you do, then I'll rob you. If you don't, then forget it." After saying this, she turned around and left. The little old man looked at Sima Yu's back and touched his sharp chin. He suddenly chased after her and pulled on Sima Yu's hand and said, "Young man, you're really not going to rob me?" Sima Yu looked at the little old man and was shocked at his speed and strength. At the same time, her face was filled with black lines. He was so strong, how would she dare to rob him? Just at this time, the devil's snare bracelet that had been quiet all this time suddenly trembled, giving her a shock. "This bracelet of yours is quite special." The little old man looked at the devil's snare bracelet. It's actually the devil's snare flower. This is the Devil King's representative flower from tens of thousands of years ago. "Young man, how did you know how to use this as a hidden flower?" Chapter 276. Hearing the little old man's words, Sima Yu's heart skipped a beat. The flower that represented the Demon King, was he referring to Amosha? Who is the demon sovereign? She blinked her eyes and asked, "You don't know about the supreme demon?" The little old man asked in return. He then nodded and said, "That's right. It's normal that you guys don't know about it." Sima Yue retracted her hand and said, "Grandpa, this 100 leaves flower has better effects when it's fresh. Aren't you going back to refined pills?" The little old man wasn't in a hurry and said, "That box of mine can keep it fresh. It's no problem for me to keep it for as long as I want." "Kid, you seem to know a lot about alchemy. Are you from the holy city?" "No, but I want to go to the sacred city," Sima Yue said. "That's true, I've never seen you in the holy city's alchemist guild," the little old man said. "Grandpa, are you from the sacred city?" Sima Yue asked. "No, I've only been here for half a month." The little old man said, "It's not fun there. I came out after a few days." "A few days?" Sima Yue looked at him in surprise and said, "Isn't the Great City Defense Array already activated? How did you get out?" "TSK, how can that be called the Great City Protecting Array? I walked out just like that. That Great City Protecting Array was completely useless." The little old man despised the standard of this continent's array formation, but thinking that it was a low-level continent, he did not criticize it too much. However, his words shocked Sima Yue. The Holy City's Great City Barrier Array had been protecting the Holy City for thousands of years, so there was no need to talk about its might. But this kind of array formation didn't even enter the little old man's eyes. Just who was he? Could it be that they came down from the upper continent? Thinking of this possibility, she smiled at the little old man and said, "Old grandpa, did you come down from the upper continent?" The little old man stared at her for a while and said, "You're pretty smart, kid. Just a little worse than my disciple. But that brat is a little more two-faced than you." "Who knows who your disciple is?" Sima Yue muttered in her heart, but the smile on her face did not change as she asked, "Grandpa, what are you doing in the Yilin continent?" "Looking for something," the little old man said. "What are you looking for? Do you need my help?" "You wouldn't know even if I told you, and you wouldn't be able to help me." The little old man shook his head. This time he was here to find his disciple's soul. If he said it out loud, this kid would probably be scared to death. Sima Yue was not surprised by his rejection. After all, they had only known each other for a short while. Seeing that it was already very late, those fellows would probably come out to look for her if she didn't go back. She said to the little old man, "Old grandpa, I'm going back. You should be careful in the mountains. It wasn't peaceful here. Goodbye." Chongming had said that he could barely fight against the creature on Forgotten Worry Island because of it. If it wasn't, the creature's strength would be unimaginable. Little Roar had said that the aura of the guy from 10,000 Beast Mountain was not inferior to the guy from Forgotten Worry Island, so he was definitely a big guy. Although this little old man came down from above, his strength was still unknown. She still reminded him out of kindness. There was something in the mountains. The little old man had sensed it on the first day he came to 10,000 Beast Mountain. He didn't expect this kid to know about it as well. He became curious about her. "Hey kid." The little old man called out to Sima Yue. "Sima Yue." Sima Yue stopped. She didn't like people calling her hey, so she said her name. "Little Sima." The little old man gave her a new name. "How did you know that it wasn't peaceful here?" He had no choice. He was too curious about everything. This was one of his strengths and weaknesses. Seeing Sima Yue, he felt that there were many things about her that made him curious. She was clearly a young person, but why was it that her eyes were so calm after seeing something good? Furthermore, her entire person gave him a kind of ethereal feeling. He had only seen this kind of feeling when his disciple was acting cool. "I guessed," Sima Yue said. "How did you guess?" the little old man asked. "Old grandpa, I really have to go back. Otherwise my family will be worried," Sima Yue said. "You can only leave after you tell me." The little old man's domineering side appeared. "Why don't you tell me what pill you want to refine with the 100-leaf flower and I'll tell you. How about that?" Sima Yue laughed. 3 yuan pill. The little old man said the pill he wanted to refine without thinking. "Now it's your turn to tell me. It really is the 3 yuan pill," Sima Yue said in her heart, "but there are only a few types of pills that can be refined with the 100-leaf flower." "I've already said it. You haven't told me how you guessed it," the little old man said. "It's actually very simple," Sima Yue said. "All the spirit beasts in 10,000 Beast Mountain are here. They will even form a beast tide to attack Sacred City. If this isn't peaceful, then what is?" After getting this answer, the little old man was a little depressed. Could it be that he misunderstood her meaning? "All right, old grandpa, I've already told you the answer. I have to go back now," Sima Yue said. "Goodbye, old grandpa." She waved at the little old man and then called Little Rock to leave. The little old man watched her leave. There were still many doubts in his eyes, but he didn't call out to her and let her leave. Sima Yue only opened her mouth to ask after leaving the cliff far away, "Emosha, what happened to you just now?" "I felt the aura of my soul," Emosha transmitted his voice. "Your soul?" Sima Yue was shocked. "Was it that old grandpa just now? He's the other half of your soul?" "No," Emosha said. "That person's soul is complete. The soul of the person that my soul reincarnated into is incomplete. He should have interacted with the reincarnated person." "Then why didn't you capture him and force him to tell you the whereabouts of your body?" Sima Yue asked. "He's very powerful. With my current strength I can't beat him," Emosha said. "It would be the same even if I added you." Sima Yue was speechless. She asked, "Then what do we do now?" "Go get close to him and see who's around him," Emosha said. "Get close to him? He's someone from the upper world. How can I get close to him?" Sima Yue was depressed. "Think of a way." Emosha quieted down and didn't speak again. Sima Yue looked back. Could it be that she had to go back now? But what should she say when she went back? She couldn't possibly ask the old grandpa who's around him has an incomplete soul. Who knows, he might just kill her. Sigh. She sighed. "He said he came to Saint City. He shouldn't leave immediately, right? Should I go back and find him?" Just as she was hesitating, a loud sound came from Dragon Reflection Mountain. She was worried that something had happened in the camp and let Little Rock fly back to take a look. Before she reached Dragon Reflection Mountain, she saw 2 people facing each other in the air. The loud sound just now should have been the sound of their fight. Little Rock increased his speed. Sima Yue saw the 2 of them clearly. "Yu Yang?" Chapter 277. Sima Yue flew over and landed on a nearby mountain. She saw many people by the lake. The people brought by Li Mu and the people from the Nalan family were standing together. Sima Yu Yang was fighting with a young man in the air, and the people below were cheering because Yu Yang had been injured by the opponent. "Sima Yu Yang, are you still not going to call out your contracted beast?" A majestic white wolf stood beside the man. "Divine beast." Sima Yu Yang looked at the white wolf. There were some divine ranked spirit beasts that did not have wings but were still able to fly. It was obvious that the white wolf was one of them. Sima Yu Yang stretched forth a hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, saying, I don't need my contracted beast to deal with you. What's going on? She flew down from the mountain and said, Is this a competition between divine beasts? Do you want little Peng to play with it? Weren't they trying to test the strength of the younger generation of the Sima family by coming to cause trouble at this time? Yue, you're back. When the people from the Sima family saw her return, they said, Yue, the other party is from the Alchemist Union of the Holy City. They said that we have detained their young miss and are looking for trouble with us. Later on, they said that if we could beat the three of them, they would let this matter go. Sima Yu glanced around. Sima Yu Qing, Sima Yu Lan and Jade were all not around. It looked like they had purposely picked a time when Jade was not around to stir up trouble. Sima Yu flew to Sima Yu Yang's side, saying, Yu Yang, you can't even defeat someone like this. Aren't you ashamed? You go down. I'll do it. These people from the Sima family were going to compete, and she did not want to let them have their way. Yu. Sima Yu Yang glanced at her. How could he not know the other party's motive? But since the other party had already bullied them like this, they naturally would not back down. Go. Sima Yue patted him on the shoulder and looked at Nailan Jia with an evil smile. Don't you want to know the strength of the Sima family? I'll play with you. I alone will be enough to defeat 3 people. This was something that everyone had a tacit understanding about. They didn't want Sima Yue to say it so bluntly. The Nailan family didn't look good. It's been 2 years since we last met. You've become much stronger. Nailan Jia recognized her. She was the one he had met in Linchuan City. Sima Yue continued to smile and said, Thank you for the compliment. However, it's been 2 years since we last met, but your aura hasn't grown much stronger. You. The Nailan family was so angry that they wanted to beat her up, but they were stopped by Nailan Jia. Who are you? The man asked. Who are you? Sima Yue asked. I am the disciple of the Alchemist Guild's 4th elder Yuan Feng. Yuan Feng said. The Alchemist Union's name is quite big. Sima Yue said, Even so, you can't just blame the Sima family. Since you want to find out the truth about the Sima family, bring it on. You're asking for it. I'll beat you up until your mother can't recognize you. Yuan Feng said viciously, White Wolf, go. Little Rock, go play with that little wolf. Be careful not to kill it. We can't afford to lose a divine beast. Sima Yue said to Little Rock, who was on her shoulder. Yes, master, I'll be merciful. Little Rock said and turned into his original form. The people below were all covered in his shadow. Four-winged rock. The Nailan family exclaimed when they saw Little Rock's original form. Little Rock pounced towards the white wolf and used his sharp claws to grab it. It quickly flew to the side and dodged the attack. You want to compete in flying with me? Little Rock snorted and attacked the white wolf again. The white wolf's ability to fly had no advantage in front of Little Rock. It couldn't even attack while it was dodging. Yuan Feng saw his divine beast being bullied and snorted. His spirit energy turned into small swords. Dual attribute spirit master? Sima Yue saw that the opponent's spirit technique was obviously of the metal attribute. Thinking that he was an alchemist, he must know the fire attribute. It's too late for you to know now. Yuan Feng said, Even if you kneel down and beg me now, I won't forgive you. You're so full of yourself. Sima Yue said, Who told you I was going to beg for mercy? But I'll return those words to you. Today I'll beat you up until your mother can't recognize you. Even if you kneel down and beg me, I won't forgive you. Saying this, she turned her spirit energy into balls of flame and extinguished the dozens of small swords that the opponent shot at her. However, her flame also dissipated. Looks like my attribute just restrained your spirit technique. Sima Yue said unkindly. Don't be too happy too early. Since you want to play with fire, I'll play with you. Yuan Feng said, As an alchemist, the best thing to play with is fire. She had to admit that this Yuan Feng was really good at playing with fire. The balls of flame in his hand were like magic. Sima Yue looked at him speechlessly. Was he performing fire magic? Go. The opponent used so much time and finally turned into a small white wolf. Under his control, it pounced towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue had already prepared her big knife. When the fire wolf pounced towards her, it was immediately destroyed by her knife. You're really good at playing with fire. The level of your spirit technique shouldn't be low. It's a pity that you didn't learn it well. Your speed is too slow. I've been waiting for so long. Sima Yue said as she flew towards him. Her speed was almost comparable to a flying beast. She came to Yuan Feng's side and kicked him, causing him to fall from the sky onto the ground. Bang! Yuan Feng only remembered to create a protective layer for himself when he was descending rapidly. Then he fell heavily onto the ground and the protective layer shattered. Sima Yu landed beside him and waved her fist at him. Yuan Feng just stood up and was punched down again. After a few times, his face was beaten black and blue. The corners of his eyes were swollen and the corners of his mouth were cracked. It was impossible to tell what he looked like before. Stop. Li Mu didn't expect Yuan Feng to be defeated so quickly. Moreover, Sima Yue was very fast and beat him up in a few moves. Sima Yue looked at Li Mu and said, "Isn't this a competition?" He didn't even admit defeat. "How can I stop?" I admit defeat." Yuan Feng took the opportunity to say. Sima Yue punched him but stopped when it was a centimeter away from his face. "Sai, why did you admit defeat? We haven't even fought for 2 rounds." She sighed and let go of her hand helplessly. Yuan Feng fell to the ground again. "I always keep my word. How about you go back and ask your mother if she knows you?" The Sima clansmen all laughed out loud. This guy was too evil. After beating the other party up, he still wanted to ridicule him. Sima Yue turned around and looked at the people from the Alchemist Guild and said, "There are 2 more rounds. Who wants to fight?" The people from the Alchemist Guild subconsciously took a step back. Even Yuan Feng, who had the highest battle power, was beaten up so badly. Who would dare to go up? "What's going on?" Jade and Sima Yuqing flew over and saw this scene. They frowned and asked. Chapter 278. "Miss Yan, you came back just in time. Your senior brother brought people over to say that we're forcing you to stay here. You should quickly go back with them. We don't dare to bear such a crime. Otherwise, the Alchemist Guild will send people to exterminate us." Sima Yue said. Jade's face darkened as she glared at Li Mu and scolded, "I was the one who took the initiative to stay here with them. What are you doing now? Tell others how our union bullies others?" "Junior sister, we're just worried about you." Li Mu quibbled. "Young Miss Yin stayed in the town with Yu Qing and the others for an entire day. How could so many of you not know?" Sima Yu said, "If young Miss Yin was really coerced by us, would she still be able to go out shopping? Even if you want to find an excuse, don't use others. Didn't you just want to test the strength of our family's children? Just say it directly. Why did you make Miss Yen take the blame?" The people from the Nalan family and the Alchemist Guild were all angry in their hearts. Every time this guy would reveal their purpose, it made them feel ashamed. "Why are you all angry?" Sima Yue said, "Am I wrong? Don't talk nonsense." A person from the Nalan clan roared. "Everyone knows whether you're talking nonsense or not. Since you've done such a thing, why are you afraid that I'll tear down your cover?" Sima Yue sneered and glanced at them. "Didn't I say that I'll defeat the 3 of you? Now that we've won one, there are 2 more to go. Which one of you wants to come?" Looking at her cold eyes, they knew that no matter who went, they would be beaten up even more miserably. After waiting for half a minute, Sima Yue pinched her hands in front of her chest and said, "Since no one is coming up, I'll choose myself. You come here. Let's stand next." The person who was pointed at hurriedly retreated and said, "I'm very weak, I won't fight with you." Sima Yue did not make things difficult for him. She pointed to another person and said, "You do it then. My strength is even lower." That person retreated. "Then you. Sima Yue pointed at a few more people, and those who were pointed at retreated. Sima Yue was infuriated when no one showed up. She roared, "Do you guys still want to fight or not? If you want to fight, then come at me. If not, then scram." Li Mu's face was ashen. It could be said that the Alchemist Guild had lost all face. "You actually dare to tell us to scram? No one has ever dared to speak to us, the people of the Alchemist Guild, like this." Someone angrily roared, "Do you want to fight me?" Sima Yue looked at him. After being glared at by Sima Yue, the other party was defeated again. "We are alchemists. So what if you, a spirit master, are stronger than us in battle?" Someone said. "Right, if you have the ability, compete with us in alchemy." As soon as that person said that, the others immediately agreed. Why would they compare their shortcomings with the strengths of spirit masters? They couldn't beat her, but they didn't believe that she knew how to refine pills. "You guys want to compete with me in alchemy?" Sima Yue asked. "What if I don't know how to refine pills?" "If you don't know how to refine pills, then you naturally have to apologize to us." The person who spoke first said. "That's enough. Li Mu, take your people and leave immediately." Jade saw the people of the Alchemist Guild acting like this. She was disappointed and angry at them, so she scolded them. "Young miss, it's useless for you to shout at Senior Li. This concerns the reputation of our guild. If the other party apologizes to us and hands her over to us, then we will let it go. If not, then don't blame our guild for punishing the Sima family. The people of the Alchemist Guild said. You guys dare to not listen to me? Jade said. Senior sister, although this matter started because of you, now it has escalated to a matter between the Sima family and the Alchemist Guild. Even if you want to stop it, you can't do anything. Red Cloud said. TSK. Sima Yue saw that they had already won and sneered. You guys first said that you would leave if I won against the three of you. If you lose once, then you won't fight anymore. Now you want to compete with us in alchemy. Do you think that everyone is an alchemist? I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen people as shameless as you. Sure enough, when the water is too clear, there are no fish. When people are too shameless, they are invincible. The people of the Alchemist Guild felt like their faces were on fire. However, since things had already come to this, they couldn't just leave with their tails between their legs. We are indeed in the wrong for changing halfway. Now we will give you a chance. We don't need you to come as long as your Sima family sends out an alchemist to compete with us. Limu said. That won't do. Sima Yue said, if you take a 100-year-old alchemist who has been practicing alchemy for 90 years to compete with us who have just started practicing alchemy, wouldn't we lose without a doubt? Sima Yue said, can't you see that we are all young? We are also from the younger generation. Limu said. I heard that your talent in alchemy is extremely high. How old are you? What's your grade? Sima Yue asked. 26, 4th grade alchemist. Limu said proudly. Sima Yue thought back to when Shiromoli was 20 years old and was about to reach the 1st grade. She was said to have extremely high talent. The further she went, the harder it was to level up. This 24-year-old 4th grade alchemist's talent was indeed extremely high. And his talent is indeed not bad. She nodded. I won't make a move. Sanzi, come and compete with them. Limu said arrogantly. Is he very powerful? Sima Yue asked. 25 years old, 3rd grade alchemist. Limu said. Limu, Sanzi's talent is the best here other than you. If you let him compete, what's the difference between you and him competing? Jade said. Senior sister, are you from our Alchemist Guild or are you from their Sima family? Why are you always speaking up for them? Hongxia said unhappily. That's right, miss, you are the guild's miss. The others also had some opinions. I'm just speaking the truth. Jade said, if you continue to do things that embarrass the guild, the elders will naturally make a decision. Limu looked at Sima Yue and said, we've already chosen our people. Do you have any alchemists? If not, then apologize. Sima Yue shook her index finger and said, no need to change, I'll compete with you. You want to compete with me? Limu looked at Sima Yue not knowing what she was up to. That's right, I'll compete with you directly. If you lose, quickly take your people and scram. Sima Yue said. Haha, this guy actually wants to compete with Senior Brotherly? Is this guy crazy? Let's compete then, Senior Brotherly. If he loses, let him break his own arm. Yuan Feng, who was slightly better after eating a pill, said hatefully. That's right, Senior Brotherly, you go and take care of him. Kid, how old are you? Sima Yue laughed. It's good that I said it in case you guys say that I cheated when I win. I'm going to be 22 soon. Chapter 279. Upon hearing Sima Yue's age, the lakeside went silent for a few seconds before bursting into laughter. 22 years old and you actually want to compete with Senior Brotherly in alchemy? This is the funniest joke I've heard this year. You're an alchemist? Jade asked. Yes, Sima Yue replied. Although my level is not very high, I can still compete with him. Jade looked at her in surprise. Was she so confident because her rank was higher than his? At the very least, it was the same as him. A 22-year-old 4th grade alchemist, this talent was really frightening. Even Senior Brother Han became a 4th grade alchemist at the age of 24. Not to mention that she was also an array master. No wonder Yu Qing and the others said that she's a freak. This kind of talent is indeed freakish. Alright, since you want to compete with me, I'll fulfill your wish. What level of alchemist are you? Limu also wanted to teach her a lesson personally, so he asked. Rank is not important. Since you can concoct rank 4 medicinal pills, let's have a rank 4 competition. Sima Yue said, but to prevent you from changing your mind after you lose, we need witnesses this time. After being ridiculed by her again and again, Limu was even angrier. What do you want? Naturally, I'm looking for witnesses. Sima Yue said, we can't compete here. We have to go to Longtu town in front of everyone. I'll be more assured if there are more witnesses. Alright, if you lose you'll be at our disposal. Li Mu said. No problem. Sima Yue said, if I fall into your hands I'm sure you'll have nothing left of me. But I'm more magnanimous. I won't be as ruthless as you. If you lose, remember to call me boss when you see me in the future. Okay. Li Mu replied. Then let's go now so that you won't be chattering in front of me. Sima Yue said, oh right, young Master Nalan, didn't you want to test our strength? Let me tell you I'm not participating so you can send people to test me. I'll take them all. Nalan Jie's hands behind his back clenched into fists. Li Mu glanced at the Sima family and said, let's go. Thus, a group of people went to Dragon Reflection Town and arrived at the arena. The people from the Alchemist Guild struck a large bell at the side of the arena and the sound of the bell immediately spread throughout the entire town. When the people in the town heard the bell, they all rushed to the arena as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They wanted to see who was going to fight. Sima Yue stood below the arena. Looking at the sturdy arena and the array at the side of the arena, she exclaimed, I didn't expect there to be an arena here. The people who come to Dragon Reflection Mountain are all hot-blooded men, and there are often conflicts. In order to protect the town they built this arena. Jade explained. So it's like that. Sima Yue rubbed her chin. Looks like the person who built this town's array is not bad. It should be, but this is something that happened a long time ago. We don't know who it is. Jade said. Very quickly the people in the town all ran over. Seeing Li Mu on stage they all guessed, is there someone who wants to compete with the people from the Alchemist Guild? Who has such big guts? Is this real or fake? Competing with the people from the Alchemist Guild, could it be that they want to compete in alchemy? Will we be able to see alchemy with our own eyes today? Competing with the people from the Alchemist Guild, isn't this just looking for trouble? Who knows? I know this person Li Mu. He's one of the best in the younger generation of the Alchemist Guild. He's only 20-something years old and is already a 4th-ranked alchemist. Such a young 4th-ranked alchemist? That's right, that's why I don't know which blind person actually dares to compete with him. Seeing that most of the people had arrived, Li Mu looked at Sima Yue below the stage and asked, when do you plan to come up? Sima Yue flicked the non-existent dust off her clothes and slowly walked onto the stage. This little brat, he looks even younger than Li Mu. He actually wants to compete with Li Mu in alchemy? This is crazy. Why don't we set up a bet? Let's bet on who will win? Forget it, this will definitely be one-sided, what's the point? These people were not willing to do it, but from the side of the stage came shouts. Come, let's guess the outcome. Bet on Li Mu winning, the odds are 1 to 5. Bet on Yue, the odds are 1 to 10, hurry up and place your bets. Everyone looked over and discovered that there was a table placed there. On top of it was a piece of cloth with Li Mu and Sima Yue's names written on it. Who are you? You actually dare to be the banker here. If you lose, will you be able to compensate us? Sima Yang opened his fan and said with what he thought was a charming smile, you can rest assured about this, my Sima family has never reneged on anyone's debt. Sima family? I know this person, he is the direct descendant of the Sima family, the grandson of the current head of the family. With someone shouting like this, everyone believed Sima Yang's identity. With someone as the banker, everyone naturally wanted to participate in the bet, so they all rushed over. Come, the competition is about to start. Those who want to participate, hurry up and place your bets. Place your bets and leave. Sima Yang shouted. You're all betting on Li Mu, is there no one betting on my family's Yue? Sima Yang saw that the bets were one-sided and frowned. My family's Yue's odds are 1 to 10. I'll do it, I'll bet on Sima Yue. A middle-aged man walked over. Just as he was about to place the gold coins on the table, he asked, is he from your Sima family? How old is he? Sima Yang beamed and said, that's right, Yue is my younger brother, he will be 22 in a few months. The middle-aged man retracted his hand when it was a centimeter away from the table, then said unnaturally, I'll bet on Li Mu to win. Haha dash, everyone around them laughed loudly. Sima Yang's smile froze for a moment, then continued to fan himself, saying, my family's Yue is actually very powerful, he will definitely win against Li Mu. Are you guys really not going to bet? Young Master Sima, you said that he's only 22 years old, it's already not bad for most people to become a 3rd-ranked alchemist at 22 years old, this Li Mu is a 4th-ranked alchemist. Who would dare to bet on him to win? Someone laughed. Don't regret it if you don't bet now. Sima Yang said. Brother, I'll buy one. A 10-year-old child squeezed in and placed a few gold coins on the table. Nyowa, why aren't you guarding your shop at home? What are you doing here? Nyowa took the betting slip and smiled at the person who spoke, saying, everyone in town is here, there's no business, my father even closed the shop, there's no need for me to guard. Little friend, you have good taste. Sima Yuyang praised. Nyowa glanced at the slip of paper in his hand and said doubtfully, why did I bet on someone else? I want to bet on Great Master Li. Everyone looked at the table as expected. Those few gold coins were placed next to Li Mu's gold coins, but because there were too many people who bet on Li Mu, when he placed it next to Sima Yoyue's gold coins. Sima Yuyang's smile froze this time. Chapter 280. I really bought it as Sima Yuyu? Nyowa looked at Sima Yuyang bitterly, can I change it back? Sima Yuyang kept his fan and knocked the cowherd on the head, saying, once you've made your bet, you can't change it anymore. But I don't want to buy hers, said the Nyowa. I have no choice. These are the rules. Sima Yuyang said helplessly, trust me, you'll definitely win if you bet on him. That's right, Nyowa. You can't change your mind now. Someone at the side laughed. All right then. Nyowa left the table rather disappointedly. Is there anything else you want to buy? Sima Yuyang asked again. After that, another person came and bought Sima Yuyue. In the end, there were only 2 people who bought Sima Yuyue. Really, it's all been profited by me, how can I accept it? Sima Yuyang said rather embarrassedly. He asked the other members of the Sima family to stand guard here while he walked to the side of the arena and said to Sima Yuyue, Yue, everyone doesn't think highly of you. Out of the 200 people, only 2 people placed their bets on you, and one of them accidentally placed his bets on you. You can't disappoint those 2. Everyone present was shocked by his words, but looking at the smile on his face, how could he be worried about losing miserably? Sima Yuyue and Li Mu had already noticed that he was the banker, so they didn't say anything and waited for him to place his bet. Hearing that only 2 people bought Sima Yuyue, Li Mu smiled proudly. This time, not only will you lose to me, you will also have to pay a large sum of money. Ah. Sima Yue dug her ears and said, what are you so proud of until the last moment? I'm waiting for you to call me big brother in the future. Shameless boasting. Li Mu snorted. Today, Li Mu from the Holy City's Alchemist Union and Sima Yuyue from the Sima family will be having a competition here. I would like to invite everyone to be a witness. If Li Mu won, Sima Yuyue would be handed over to the Alchemist Guild and the Sima family would not be allowed to stop him. If Sima Yuyue wins, Li Mu will have to call her boss in the future. Whoosh, everyone was in an uproar. The other party actually dared to ask the people of the Alchemist Guild to call her boss. She was really audacious. How do you plan to compete? Someone below asked. Refining the same 4th grade pill, whoever has a higher grade and faster speed will be the winner. The host said, because it's getting late, everyone only has one chance. Let's begin. Li Mu took out his furnace and a table full of herbs. Seeing that Sima Yue had not moved, he mocked, don't tell me you don't even have herbs? If that's the case, then we don't need to compete. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Taking out her furnace and herbs, she quickly started refining. All the alchemists present were shocked when they saw her smooth movements. They did not expect her to be so skilled. Maybe she really was a 4th grade alchemist. The little old man happened to be flying over Dragon Reflection Mountain and casually glanced down. He was immediately attracted by Sima Yuyue's techniques. He quietly landed on the mountain peak and quietly watched her refine pills. Refining a 4th grade pill was very easy for her as all the movements were done in one go. When she was done, Li Mu had not even finished fusing the pills. She gave a soft laugh and patted her furnace. A few pills flew up and were caught by her jade bottle. A rich medicinal fragrance immediately filled the arena. What a rich medicinal fragrance! Everyone closed their eyes to smell the fragrance of the pills. Those who knew their stuff said, such a rich medicinal fragrance, this pill's grade must not be low. It should be a 4th grade high-grade pill. I did not expect her to be so fast. It's even a high-grade pill. She's really not simple. Someone sighed. So you're saying that Li Mu lost? Everyone then remembered that the first person to succeed would win. Now that she had finished refining, Li Mu would lose. Pooh! When Li Mu saw that Sima Yuyue had successfully refined the pill, he panicked and did not control the fire properly. He directly wasted a batch of herbs. I actually failed. What a pity for these herbs. Sima Yuyue shook her head and sighed. Since you didn't even manage to refine the pill, then you've lost this competition. Li Mu's expression was very ugly. He did not expect that he would actually lose. You're not even a fourth-grade alchemist. Li Mu said as he stared at the pill in Sima Yue's hand. If she was a fourth-grade alchemist, no matter how good her skills were, she would not be able to refine a fourth-grade pill in such a short time. Sima Yue smiled and said, I never said that I was a fourth-grade alchemist. The reason why I competed with you in refining a fourth-grade pill was because you could only refine pills of this grade. In the future you have to call me big brother when you see me. Do you understand, little brother? You, don't go back on your words. Sima Yue interrupted him. There are so many witnesses here today. You can't keep your mouth shut even if you want to. You should just accept your loss. After she finished speaking, she turned around and left the arena. She left the small town with Bei Gongtang and the others and returned to the small lake camp. After a while, everyone finally reacted. She had really defeated Li Mu. And from her last words they could tell that she was not a fourth-grade alchemist. Her grade was even higher. A 22-year-old alchemist. Her grade is even higher than Li Mu's. She's really a god. Someone cried out in surprise. That's right. With this talent, even the younger generation in the Alchemist Continent's Central Union might not be able to compete with her. Aya, oh my god. Brat, what are you shouting about? We've lost all our bets. Damn, it's true. I bet that Li Mu would win. Me too. I've lost big this time. We all bet that Li Mu would win. Only those two fellows bet that Sima Yue would win. Look, they're still collecting money over there. Everyone looked towards the place where they had bet. Niu Hua and a middle-aged man stood in front of the table to collect their winnings. I never thought that I would win tens of gold coins by accident. Niu Hua happily took the gold coins and looked at them under the setting sun. Luckily I bet wrongly just now. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to earn any more. The other man also took the gold coins and weighed them. He said happily, I have the rent for these 2 days. I told you that my family's Yu would definitely win. How is it? You didn't lose anything, right? Sima Yuyang said proudly. I didn't expect her to be so powerful. Niu Hua happily counted the gold coins in his arms. Everyone was stunned. They didn't think that the result would be like this. The money that they had bet just now was all gone. The little old man stood on the mountain. He was still thinking about Sima Yue's performance just now. His eyes flashed and he had an idea. Chapter 281. Book title. Chapter You Should Take Me as Your Teacher. Author Sima Yue's victory over Li Mu caused a huge reaction in Dragon Reflection Town, not only because many people lost a lot of money in the bet, but also because they were discussing how a 22-year-old alchemist had a higher rank than the 4th level Li Mu. What kind of heaven-defying talent was this? Many people were guessing the reason why the Sima family had hidden her for so many years. Otherwise, why did they only know about her now? In the end, Sima Yue's matter was really dug out. What? Is she the child who caused the change in the Sima family 2 years ago? She came from the Dongqin kingdom? Oh my god, she was only 19 2 years ago. He actually dared to cross the Sophia mountain range. I heard that the people around her are either alchemist or armament master. If not, they are beast tamer masters. This combination is too frightening. Sigh, comparisons are odious. Li Mu is the one who's depressed. In the future, I'll have to call her big brother whenever I see her. Ah, that's great. That's right. You've always been so arrogant. This time you've fallen for it. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Sima Yue didn't care about the commotion she caused in Dragon Reflection Town. She returned to the campsite with the Sima family and rubbed her stomach. It was time to eat again. Sigh, I don't feel hungry when I'm cultivating, but as long as I'm not cultivating, I'll feel hungry when it's time. What kind of habit is this? She sighed. Oh, you're already a celestial, yet you still like to eat so much. Suddenly, that gentle and loving voice sounded again, causing her to stop abruptly. What's wrong, Yue? Bei Gongtang asked. Sima Yue felt her heart ache. She looked at Bei Gongtang and said, It's nothing. I just suddenly thought of someone. Yue, your sudden change in mood is very scary. Fatty Chu said. Is there? Aren't I fine? Sima Yue forced a smile. She took a deep breath and said, Let's go. I'll make you guys something delicious tonight to celebrate our victory. Alright. Sima Yue took a long time to cook a table full of dishes. The Sima family sat at 2 tables and ate happily. She was the only one who was staring at the dishes in a daze. These dishes are all your mother's favorite. Little Roar gnawed on a bone on the table as he transmitted his voice to her. Sima Yue looked at the dishes. She did not know why she suddenly wanted to cook today, but she had no appetite at all. Mother? She looked at the soup in the bowl and called out softly. Sima Yue was overflowing with sadness. Everyone was at a loss as they did not know what had happened to her. Aya, it smells so good. The little old man's voice broke the atmosphere and pulled Sima Yue back to reality. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a lean old man step into their array formation. Who are you? Sima Yuyang stood up and asked. I'm just a little old man. The little old man walked over and saw the table full of delicacies. His eyes shone. Sima Yue raised her head and saw the little old man. She cried out in surprise, Grandpa? Aya, so you're here. The little old man saw Sima Yue and walked over. He pulled Sima Yue up and sat down. He took out a pair of chopsticks and put a piece of meat into his mouth. Sima Yue did not have time to react before he was pulled up. He was about to speak when Sima Yue shook her head at him and asked him to go to the next table. Grandpa, what are you doing here? The little old man threw the bone that he had finished eating behind him, saying, I saw your competition with others. I didn't expect you to be so good at alchemy. After that, I went to other places and came back to the town to look for you. I didn't expect you to be here. Look for me? Sima Yue blinked her eyes and looked at him, asking, Grandpa, why are you looking for me? I just wanted to ask who your master is. Your method of alchemy is very special. It doesn't seem like an ordinary person's. The little old man said. I don't have a master. I just happened to come across some methods of alchemy. Sima Yue replied. The little old man glanced at her and did not continue. He focused all his attention on the food. If his disciple saw this, he would definitely scold him for being a glutton. Yue, who is this? Sima Yuyang asked. This is the grandpa I met today. Sima Yue said. It's fine. Everyone continue eating. The little old man had eaten many good things in the upper realms before. However, compared to the food this time, it paled in comparison. He looked small and skinny, but his appetite was shocking. Almost half of the food on the table went into his stomach. This taste is really good. Who made it? After eating and drinking to his fill, he patted his bulging stomach and asked. I made it. Sima Yue said, Grandpa, you look so small. How can you store so many things? You made it? Are these all? The little old man asked. Not all of them. Bei Gong and the others made many for us. Sima Yue said. Not bad, not bad. The little old man nodded. Grandpa, I still don't know how to address you. She asked. Everyone calls me Old Man Devil. The little old man said. You're from the Devil clan? Sima Yue asked in surprise. No, how do I look like a devil? The little old man said angrily. You don't. Sima Yue smiled flatteringly and asked, Grandpa Devil, when will you refine the 3-yuan pill? What? The little old man took out a toothpick and put it in his mouth. I'm just curious. I've never seen anyone refine the 3-yuan pill. Sima Yue said, Grandpa Devil, this 3-yuan pill is very complicated. Do you need someone to help you? You want to help me? Old Man Devil glanced at her. Sima Yue nodded and looked at him with a smile. I'll make more good things. They'll taste better than these. You just want to watch me refine pills. Old Man Devil pointed out Sima Yue's motive. Yes, Grandpa Devil, do you agree? Sima Yue did not deny it. You'll make more good things for me? The little old man asked. If you agree, of course I will. Sima Yue said. But I don't usually let outsiders watch me refine pills. Old Man Devil said, why don't you be my disciple? With your talent, you're barely qualified to be my disciple. Sima Yue was stunned. Be your disciple? What? I'm a 9th grade alchemist and I'm not enough to be your master. Old Man Devil said. No. Sima Yue hurriedly denied. I just think that we've only known each other for a day. Isn't it a little too fast for me to be your disciple? I only accepted you as my disciple because I like you. So many people want to enter my divine devil valley but can't. Old Man Devil said. Bei Gong Tang, who was sitting at the side, suddenly raised her head and said in shock, Divine Devil Valley? Chapter 282. Sima Yue saw Bei Gong Tang's reaction and asked, Is the Divine Devil Valley very powerful? Of course. Old Man Devil said, If not, why would so many people want to go to my Divine Devil Valley? I've never been there. How would I know if he's good or not? Sima Yue said. Under the table, Bei Gong Tang stretched out her hand and pulled on the corner of her clothes, blinking her eyes at her. Bei Gong Tang wanted her to agree. Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil and said, Isn't it not worth it to sell yourself just to watch an alchemy? Grandpa Devil, is there any benefit in becoming your disciple? Is there a gift for the apprenticeship? Old Man Devil stared at Sima Yue. Bei Gong Tang, who was at the side, was scared to death. She was afraid that he would get angry and do something to Sima Yue. However, she did not expect that he would laugh out loud. Haha, everyone else wants to be my disciple, yet you're asking me if I have a gift for you to be my disciple? I like your personality. You have the same style as me when I was young. Hearing his words, Bei Gong Tang finally relaxed. At least he wouldn't hurt Yue. Do you have it or not? Sima Yue asked. What kind of gift do you want? Old Man Devil asked. Just give me any heaven and earth treasure. Even divine-level spiritual weapons are fine. Sima Yue said. Cough cough dash. Bei Gong Tang was almost choked to death by her words and violently coughed twice. Good lad, your demands aren't low. Old Man Devil said, as long as you promise to cook for me often in the future, I will definitely give you a gift as my apprentice. You didn't say that you were going to give me a gift for becoming your disciple. Sima Yue muttered softly, but her voice was heard by Wei Ziqi and the rest. I can't think of anything to give you right now. When you go to the Divine Devil Valley, you can go to the storeroom and choose for yourself. Old Man Devil said. Alright, thank you, Master. Sima Yue stood up and bowed to Old Man Devil. She then picked up the teacup on the table and offered him a cup of tea. You little brat, you actually used this kind of tea to brush me off. Old Man Devil glared at him. Sima Yue giggled as she stuffed the teacup into Old Man Devil's hands and said, Master, just put up with it for a while. We can't pay attention to formalities. You have to see my feelings for you. If you have a good heart, it doesn't matter if the ceremony isn't good. If you don't have a good heart, even if we have a peerless ceremony, it's useless, right? Haha, you little brat, you're quite insightful. Old Man Devil took a sip of his tea, showing his approval. Of course. Sima Yue sat back down and said, I don't usually acknowledge a master easily. Once I acknowledge a master, I will naturally treat him differently. As the saying goes, a teacher for a day is a father for life. This is not a joke. Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue and saw the sincerity in her eyes. She didn't seem to be lying at all. Suddenly he felt a trace of emotion in his heart. That disciple who had made his heart bleed for so many years had also said something similar. So many people wanted to acknowledge him as a master, but how many of them had the same thoughts as the two of them? Master, what's wrong? Sima Yue asked when she saw him like this. Cough cough, nothing. Old Man Devil concealed his feelings and said, I've already given you a gift for acknowledging me as your master. What gift are you going to give me? Isn't it always the master who gives the disciple a gift? Why is there a disciple who gives the master a gift? Sima Yue widened her eyes. Old Man Devil said unhappily, who said that the disciple can't give the master a gift? No way, you have to give me a gift as well. Didn't you say that the Divine Devil Valley is very powerful? Why do you still want me to give you a gift? Sima Yue said, how about this, I'll give you a gift after I think about it. Otherwise, what if you don't like it? All right. Old Man Devil replied with a smile. Old Man Devil left not long after, saying that he would bring her to refined pills the next day. Once he left, Bei Gong Tang heaved a sigh of relief and said happily, Yue, congratulations, you actually managed to acknowledge Old Man Devil as your master. Bei Gong, do you know about the Divine Devil Valley? Sima Yue asked. Bei Gong Tang nodded. The Divine Devil Valley doesn't have as many members as the other sects and clans. However, they have an extremely high position in the upper realm. This Old Man Devil is very famous in the upper realm. Although I had my suspicions at first, I had never seen him before, so I thought that it was someone with the same name in the Yilin continent. Only when I heard about the Divine Devil Valley did I know that it was really him. Is Master's reputation very big? Sima Yue asked. That's right, the Divine Devil Valley has two Valley Lords. One is called Old Man God and the other is called Old Man Devil. Bei Gong Tang said. So you're saying that my master is one of the two Valley Lords? Sima Yue was surprised. She didn't think that the other party would have such a strong background. Why is he called Old Man Devil? Because his personality is a little weird. Some people say that he kills without batting an eye like a devil. Bei Gong Tang said, however, I've heard my father and aunt talk about it before. They said that it's actually because the Divine Devil Valley has always had two Valley Lords. The Devil Valley Lord's personality is a little weird, but he's not the kind of devil who kills people. Sima Yue rubbed her chin and said, I didn't feel a strong murderous aura from Master. If he kills people often, his body will emit an endless amount of murderous intent. So if you can enter the Divine Devil Valley, you'll have an extremely strong backer when you go to the upper realm. Bei Gongtang said. Didn't you say that there aren't many people in the Divine Devil Valley? How can they be so powerful? Sima Yue didn't understand. Because the Divine Devil Valley is filled with capable people. Bei Gongtang said, look at the Alchemist Guild now. Just one profession is already very powerful. However, the Divine Devil Valley has gathered alchemists, armament masters, beast tamer masters, array masters, and the most powerful people in each profession are in the Divine Devil Valley. Do you know of the Sage Pavilion? Sima Yue nodded. Because of Wu Lingyu, Little Roar had told her about the Sage Pavilion. She knew how powerful it was. Even the people from the Sage Pavilion don't dare to offend the Divine Devil Valley. They have to treat them with respect. Now do you know what kind of power you've entered? Bei Gongtang said. Sima Yue was so shocked that her mouth opened wide. She actually entered such a place. Furthermore, she was the disciple of one of the Valley Lord. Could it be that she was really lucky? Master said that he can refine 9th ranked pills. Is his rank the highest? She asked. No, it said that there are many old monsters. Their ranks are even higher, but they usually don't come out. Bei Gongtang said. There are all kinds of professions. Sima Yue rubbed her chin and laughed, saying, I've thought of what kind of gift I should give him. Yue, what are you thinking of doing? Bei Gongtang saw her smile and felt that it was a little scary. I'm preparing to give my master a gift. Sima Yue pulled Bei Gongtang up, saying, let's go. We'll rest today. We'll do it tomorrow. Chapter 283. The next day, Old Man Devil made a rare return to the Saint City. Although many people in the Sage Pavilion had never seen him before, they knew that the Holy Son of the Upper Realm had brought his master along with him. They couldn't see through his powers, so they guessed his identity. Stinking brat. Old Man Devil came to Wu Lingyu's courtyard and shouted at the top of his lungs. Wu Lingyu was just telling the Sage Pavilion's pavilion master that he wanted to go out and take a look at the situation of the continent. When he heard his master's voice, he smiled at the pavilion master and walked out. Seeing Old Man Devil sitting on the roof, he asked, Master, where have you been for so long? I walked around. When Old Man Devil saw Wu Lingyu's holy aura, he waved his hand and said, I have something to discuss with you. The Sage Pavilion's pavilion master had been to the upper realm before and naturally knew how powerful Old Man Devil was. He said to Wu Lingyu, since the Holy Son has something to discuss with your master, I will go back first. Okay. The holy smile on Wu Lingyu's face remained unchanged. The pavilion master cupped his hands towards him, then bowed towards Old Man Devil before leaving the courtyard. Once everyone from the Sage Pavilion had left, Wu Lingyu leaned against the door and looked at Old Man Devil absent-mindedly. I say, old man, you disappeared the moment you came down. What do you have to say to me now? I found a junior brother for you. Old Man Devil's words drew Wu Lingyu's attention back to the present. He raised his eyebrows and said, there's actually someone on this continent that you're interested in? When did they meet? How did you trick him into coming here? What are you talking about? Old Man Devil glared at Wu Lingyu. I recognized her directly. She has already given me the gift of becoming her disciple. It's rare for someone to catch your eye. There are so many outstanding people in the upper realm who want to be your disciple, yet you insist on coming here to pick one. Wu Lingyu said, didn't you want to choose a successor? How many years would it take for the people from this continent to go up there? Can you wait until then? You stinking brat, are you cursing me to have a short life? Old Man Devil roared. Wu Lingyu dug his ears to indicate that he was shocked by his voice. I'm not cursing you. I'm just telling the truth. Wu Lingyu shrugged. If it weren't for the fact that you refused to come back no matter what, would I have to look for someone else? Old Man Devil looked at him resentfully. It was Martial Uncle who asked you to choose a successor, how can you blame it on me? You have such high standards that you don't like those people. That's why you dragged it out until now. Alright, how old is my junior brother? Rumor has it that he's almost 22 years old. I think there's still a little more than 2 months left. Old Man Devil had heard the discussions of those people on Dragon Reflection Mountain. Only 22 years old, so young. How high is his grade? Can he concoct level 3 medicinal pills? What are you talking about? Is my taste that bad? Of course my choice wouldn't be bad. Old Man Devil said proudly. Even if his innate talent isn't bad, don't forget his character. If he can't pass the Divine Devil Valley's test, even if he becomes your disciple, he won't be able to become your successor. Wu Lingyu reminded. His character is naturally good. You'll know when you see him today. Old Man Devil said. I'm not going, I don't have time. Wu Lingyu rejected directly. How can you not have time? Old Man Devil didn't believe him. I want to go to Sophia Mountain Range. Wu Lingyu said. He had already decided that he would go to Dongqing Kingdom today to look for that little girl. No way, you have to come with me. The little old man said, and you have to prepare a greeting gift. I'm not going. Wu Lingyu rejected. If you don't go, you'll what? I'll die for you to see. Then you go, I won't stop you. You heartless stinking brat. Are you trying to anger me to death? If you anger me to death, you won't have to die. In the end, Wu Lingyu couldn't argue with Old Man Devil and followed him to see his so-called little junior brother. When he saw his little junior brother, he was extremely glad that he came, otherwise he didn't know how long it would take for him to see the person he missed dearly. Sima Yue was cooking because Old Man Devil said that he would be back for dinner at night. My good disciple, is the food ready? The little old man and Wu Lingyu landed by the lake and shouted. The Sima family knew that Sima Yue had become his disciple. They heard that he was a very powerful person from the upper realm, and they all respectfully called him Grandpa Devil. Master, you're here so early, I haven't finished cooking yet, you have to wait for a while. Sima Yue was busy cooking. When she turned around and saw the person behind Old Man Devil, she was stunned. It's you. Her surprise turned into anger, and she immediately threw the spatula in her hand at him. Wu Lingyu stretched out his hand to catch the spatula, saying, Little junior brother, is this how you treat your senior brother? Seeing that Sima Yue wasn't in a good mood, that pair of angry eyes were still so lively, and seeing her reaction when she saw him, it meant that she hadn't forgotten about him after so many years. The Sima family all stared with wide eyes. Why was this Yue so angry? She even threw the spatula. TSK, there was a secret. Old Man Devil also didn't expect this to happen, saying, Stinky brat, you know Yue? Not only do we know each other, we even lived together for a period of time. Wu Lingyu said. Bei Gong, come here. Sima Yue said. Bei Gong Tang took out a spatula and stood at her position to continue cooking, but her attention was always on Yue. Sima Yue walked over and came to Old Man Devil's side, saying, Master, he's your disciple, my senior brother? That's right, when did you live together for a period of time? Old Man Devil asked. When he mentioned that they lived together for a period of time, Sima Yue remembered how he played her in circles. She immediately opened her palm and attacked Wu Lingyu, ignoring the devil snare bracelet's reaction when she saw Wu Lingyu. You're not allowed to use spiritual energy. Sima Yue knew that if she used spiritual energy, she definitely wouldn't be Wu Lingyu's opponent, so she shouted. Since little junior brother wants to play, then I'll play with you. Wu Lingyu smiled as he dodged Sima Yue's attack. One chased, the other dodged, and occasionally fought back, but no matter what, Sima Yue couldn't hit Wu Lingyu. Stop right there. Sima Yue shouted when she saw that she was so tired that she couldn't hit him. Wu Lingyu also stood still obediently. Sima Yue struck out with her palm, but he caught her hand and pulled her into his embrace. Because they were chasing, they were already a little far from the campsite. When Wu Lingyu pulled her, his back was facing the crowd, so even if the two were in an ambiguous position, the people by the lake couldn't tell. You bastard, let go of me. Sima Yue shouted angrily. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue, lowered his head and bit her ear, saying softly, Woman, you've really grown up. After so many years, have you ever thought of me? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.